At the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Join LES at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 9th at the LES Operations Center to learn about the utilities' proposed 2026 budget and electric rates and share your input at the annual public meeting. Learn more at les.com.
This is Rick Heyman with Sartor Heyman Jewelers. Sartor Heyman is celebrating 120 years, and you could win big. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for your chance to win a $120 gift certificate every week. That's right, we're giving away $120 every week as a thank you for being part of our story. Don't miss your chance to treat yourself. Follow Sartor Heyman Jewelers today. Celebrating 120 years. Sartor Heyman, when only the best will do.
Hi, Sean Callahan here, and I've got some great news for you. Koppel Chevrolet GMC is proud to be the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln metros. Koppel is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. We want to say thank you to all of our customers that have helped us reach these milestones. So come see why so many customers, including myself, are choosing Koppel Chevrolet GMC for their automotive needs. Please check us out at koppelcars.com.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right, it is Old School on a fascinating day. in Huskerland. Welcome to a Monday show brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. As my co-host Jay Foreman would say, we are on the stream. We just don't got the queen. We are getting our best and our brightest minds on our camera situation. So
we on the stream?
Well, we are, but we are not being seen. So we just have our smiling faces up there on the very nice banner. So cameras are a little stuck, a little funky. My usual fixes didn't work. So we are getting our best and brightest on the camera situation. But don't worry, fear not. We are here. It is Old School with you from 3 to 6 p.m. today. Before we jump into the proceedings, we got a Cash Blitz keyword for you. Get your phone out. Get ready to text 508-777-1000. The word for Old School today, late, L-A-T-E, late. Text late, L-A-T-E, to 508-777-1000 for your chance to win $1,000 tomorrow around noon. You can also go to our website, theticketfm.com, and click on Cash Blitz. Enter the keyword late, L-A-T-E. Jay Foreman, they did it. They did it. They won a game. Again, to get to 5-1, but the way they did it, Nebraska football, and a 34-31 win over Maryland is going to carry us through this first segment. We know there's some other discussions going on in Huskerland. We will get to that at 4 o'clock, but I do want to address the game because I think there's a lot of interesting stuff when it comes to the game. First of all, in pregame, I said, you can go back and check it right about 1:45 p.m. It's time for the offense to step up and win a game late. They did. First, come from behind, go ahead, drive to win a game since Nebraska beat Purdue 25-24. And Stanley Morgan Jr. caught the ultimate game-winning touchdown pass. It had been a while. And then the defense stands up. They get the stop. Maryland drove it a little bit, but never seriously threatened for the even the potential game-tying field goal. Again, not a pretty game necessarily, not a perfect game, still a pretty atrocious third quarter where Nebraska's outscored 14-0. But Jay, Nebraska handled the adversity. It came through it, and in back-to-back weeks, it's dominated in the fourth quarter in terms of yards and in terms of points. Again, not going to fool anyone by saying this is the greatest team known to man, but Nebraska's taken a step forward. It's proven it 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, I mean, look, a win is a win. I think it's one of those things you got to learn how to win. And, look, and it's going to take, I think this team, at least up in, through halfway through the season, it's different ways they got to win. I think special teams, I think the last 2 weeks, I think number one, you got to take advantage of the opportunity that you have, right? You can't, as many years that everybody's complained about the schedule being too hard, not ideal playing times, whether we played at 11 o'clock in Purdue and whatever the heck, the excuses are. Now it's like you got to take advantage of it. Look, you played two probably the worst special teams units in the nation in the last 2 weeks, right? That's fine. But then you took extreme advantage of them to the point that it helps you win a game. And then you were able to get out of your own way. You get stopped on fourth down. You stop them on fourth down. So you're showing some like little bit of grit and just ability to not go in the tank and just, take your ball and go home. You get it, you get a lead, and then you end up losing the lead, and then it comes in when your back's against the wall and you drive down. Now, obviously, it was set up by a return. Then you finish it off, and there's a lot more positives when you win a game, or that instead of trying to say like the moral victories, there's more actually tangible positives. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that needs to get cleaned up like yesterday, and now we're at the point now in the season. If you want to get to where you want to get to, you got to start, taking some, steps forward in those areas and then getting that continuity together. But nevertheless, the ability to, to win and play to the very end is something that hadn't been around in Nebraska in quite some time. And there was times that, prior, where this is what, people were like, oh, I just want us to play hard. I just want us to compete. I want us to just do that. So now you got it. Yes, you can still complain, but also don't forget where you came from because, very easily, you could be at a different schedule or a different record right now.
Matt Rhule had something to say about that in his press conference. I don't remember exactly which cut it was, but it was something to the effect of, maybe I haven't done it as fast as some other places, but we have it a lot better now than we did 2 years ago, right? There are steps in the right direction. And Brad,
you can't. There's no way you can. you can't say now. You look, you got better players now. I mean,
Oh,
but
yeah.
but I mean, in some places you guys are better players, but you do. I mean, it's a better team. Um, the college football's changed. I think it's a little bit clear now. You have revenue sharing and all that. You probably have a better grasp now on the collective, or at least up until this year, you had better grasp on collective. Probably have a better grasp on the Big Ten. So, but then overall, it is a better team. He probably understands the dynamics of this new age of college football a lot better and clearer. And so, the whole year three thing, that's great. And it is like real, because you kind of, when you go into places, and I don't, by no means do I compare Nebraska to Temple and Baylor.
Mm-hmm. You can't.
But it's not even close.
No.
But when you go into places like the ones before, and there were some of those things before where you gotta, okay, look, you guys think you were working hard, you think you were playing hard, you think you really want to, like, we got to get you out of your own way. So there is some things that are comparable. But when you go in there, it takes a lot of time, because a lot of that stuff that's like, you're changing people's behavior. They're like, and it's not, generally when you get in the stadium or in the, whatever, the field or whatever they're doing over there in the off season, it's just by nature as an athlete, you're going to work hard to the pretty good extent.
Mm-hmm.
What you have to do, and this is the simplest way to explain it. He has to change their behaviors when he's not around. So that means so you're doing two things at once, versus like you go to, like, say you take over Ohio State, those kids, they just know. That's why I was always saying, Scott Frost coming out of COVID or during COVID is totally different things. When you had to send people home and come back, hanging out for a couple of days and not doing anything, or for a couple of weeks, was maybe the norm around here versus there. So it takes some time. And at the end of the day, you're 5-1. I think when you started the season, you say you're right on target at 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, I mean, obviously, ideally be 6-0. But 5-1, you're on, you're at or ahead of schedule. And then now you got a huge game up here in Minneapolis, or where you can become bowl eligible probably quicker than, or Mike Riley's team was the only one that was faster, but in recent history. And then we're gonna see really what you do when you got house money in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen that before.
I've seen that before.
Where did you see it?
You know exactly where I saw it.
You saw it in
at
Vegas.
the Bay.
You that's exactly where you saw it. Once you get a hole, then you could be a little bit more aggressive. It's because
get right.
Yeah.
Then
you got to work. You got to be very diligent when you're doing your thing early in the game.
Stay true to your principles. Know who you are. Trust the process. Get the lead.
And then you put the dagger in the heart. And so that's, look, they got a tremendous opportunity for themselves. And, there's a lot of, questions, but I think it's just also a lot of smoke screens. And so, they got to really focus in and do what they got to do, and ultimately go out there, put their best foot forward. And Minnesota's going to try to defend their home turf. They're going to try to have Nebraska leave with the same record as they would be, or as they would have, which would be 5-2 after the game. And Nebraska's got to try their hardest and put Minnesota a little bit in the hole, at home.
Let's go ahead and hit on a few players from Nebraska and Maryland. What we saw, what we liked, maybe what we didn't. Let's start especially with what we liked. Let's start with Emmett Johnson, Jay. Big story, probably his best game at Nebraska. And it's nice to see that, hey, guess what? Nebraska's not the only team that has issues stopping the run. Maryland was really bad. Emmett Johnson was really good.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was Emmett just played his butt off. Now, I think the line blocked a little bit better. I think they found, they played a little bit, or they blocked better in the run. I think I think Nebraska did some things offensively to put them in positions where they had to, make some tackles. Maryland's extremely young up front on defense, so that plays well or bodes well for Nebraska. And then Emmett just, he was balling out of control. This was the game that he did it last week against Michigan State. He was the 4 quarters and very efficient. He did it again, and you got to tip your hat to him, because I think he really, stepped up and solidified himself and opened some eyes. But I think it's probably part of what he was expecting and knowing in his own mind. And so for him, it's back to work, I'm sure. I mean, obviously it's, you got a big game. He's going back home and everybody knows that. But
already announced as the game captain today.
Yeah. I mean, that's all like fine and all that. But he did his thing. There ain't no doubt about it. There's no denying that he was the dude.
Other guys that did their thing for Nebraska on offense, the two transfer receivers led Nebraska in catches between Isaiah Hunter and Dane Key. It was 9 for 168 and 3 of Nebraska's 4 touchdowns. Dane Key did his thing, steady as she goes, plus the big play at the end to win it for Nebraska. But Jay, I want to stop on Isaiah Hunter for just a second. Officially a game breaker. Officially. Back-to-back weeks on a similar, maybe the exact same play call. And when I was here on postgame after Michigan, I was talking about Ja'Cory Barney Jr., right? He's a really good player. Can he take the next step? He hasn't yet. And Isaiah Hunter has. Back-to-back weeks, those screens that he's taken for touchdowns, Stanley Morgan Jr. doesn't do that. Samori Toure doesn't do that. Trey Palmer wasn't asked to do that, but that's the last guy, right? And so as much as I love Ja'Cory Barney Jr. as a player, as many good things as he's done for Nebraska in special teams this year, as one of the leading receivers last year and what he did against Michigan, to me, Isaiah Hunter is the game breaker on Nebraska's offense more than Ja'Cory Barney Jr. Again, it's not a knock on Ja'Cory Barney Jr. and what he's done, but whether it's other guys not making the right block to spring Barney on similar plays, for whatever reason, Ja'Cory Barney hasn't had that touchdown like Isaiah Hunter has had in back-to-back weeks. To me, Isaiah Hunter is the dude in that receiving core as of today.
Yeah, well, he's been the most consistent, though.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the way he goes about his business and his skill set is significantly different than Barney, than J.D. Spellman, than Toure. Because I think when he came from Cal, being a freshman, you're like, all right, he had a good year, and that's kind of like luck. But when you see him, he's a big dude now. Like he's put together.
He outran that angle.
Yeah,
all those guys I mentioned.
But the thing is that you have to understand he's powerful. It's a different type of speed with him, and
it's the type of speed and power that Nebraska needs to take the next step. It's great to have one Isaiah Hunter. Best teams have 2 or 3.
You ain't doing that against big time competition.
But you can't do it unless you have an Isaiah Hunter.
But you ain't doing it even if you do. It's not happening when you play against the real deals. But what he can do is bust a 30-yard on him, a 40-yard on him, which is essentially the same thing or whatever, 20-plus yards. Here's where I think it's apparent, right? Okay, so Hunter versus, or you could say, okay, Dane Key against Banks, upgrade Dane Key. Ja'Cory Barney. Sorry, I shouldn't be killing his name like that. So this is my little dude. Barney, 2025 to 2024. Upgrade. Hunter.
From
Nair, supreme upgrade. And it's not necessarily because Nair's bigger. He probably is faster if they got out here on O Street. Okay. But it's here.
Yeah.
So
for those of you who you can't see on stream, Jay pointed to his
because mindset. Because then here's where the little cherry on top of the asterisk is. Hunter can do a little bit of Key as well. You've seen that against Cincinnati, right? He made the kind of over the shoulder catch, like a back shoulder fade. I don't know what it was. It was kind of like because Dylan threw it from almost, from one hash out to the sidelines, but it was a 50-50 ball. So now that's where things open, and that's where, in order for Ja'Cory Barney to get busy like that and have this type of run, he's going to have to make 6 or 7 guys miss because he's in the middle of the field all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas Hunter is you come over there you come out of stack as a defensive lineman, you're jogging. Oh, Jay's going to get him. Next thing you know, nobody's getting him. That's where you're able to punch holes in the defense from an explosive part. But that's why you have a light box, and that's where Emmett Johnson's he did get off.
Yeah.
And so they got to continue to do that. And obviously teams are going to, I'm sure Minnesota is going to rep that play because essentially the last 3 times Nebraska's ran that play, right? So Saturday, and then 2 times against Michigan State. Two of them been house calls. The very first one was essentially a shoestring tackle to start the second half against Michigan State that should have been a house call.
Yeah.
So now, now this might open up for Dane Key. The best thing about Saturday was that Dane Key was able to kind of do the same things that you saw like in Kentucky. 50-50 catch. He gets really good hand-eye coordination, balance, and he's steady and sturdy, and he made a big-time catch to win the game.
And that's why I think you go get a guy like that for his steadiness in those big moments. He made the key play for Nebraska there at the end of the game, taking him from down 4, ultimately up 3. We'll definitely talk defense as we move throughout the course of the show. But while we're on the offense, Jay, I know you like it more because it's Nebraska. But if you're an opposing linebacker and you see the toe drag swag that Luke Lindenmeyer and Heinrich Harburg have,
sweet. Yeah,
holy cow.
Yeah, Lindenmeyer's was pretty sweet, man. And, it was kind of one of those things like you throw it out of bounds and you throw it. And whether Dylan had a rabbit's foot in his back pocket or not, I mean, literally, listen, 14 had a bad day at the office. I know he had pick 6, but he had a bad day at the office. It literally was a fingertip away, and it was good. And that's great to be able to kind of float it over there or feather it in there. And then it's really good concentration in a tight spot like that. And, obviously that's something that they practice, but that's excellent. And then, look, Lindenmeyer has done tremendously well for himself. You know what I'm saying? Over the last 2 years. And you got to think you go from, it was an excellent play call against Illinois. It was just probably, it was just a little off target. He was wide open. He's made I saw it the first year where he was the move guy. And got a couple opportunities. You could tell he can run and all that. And then he just improved in, his overall game. And it pays off. Hard work pays off, and it's good for him to make a huge play. They needed that play.
They needed the touchdown. They needed Harburg's catch too. I mean, to get him set up with goal to go. Yeah, those are both huge.
This is where you're able to have some depth, right? And you see the maturation of Heinrich Harburg to tight end, where you wish you kind of had him for another year to see if he could really do something. So when you think about the whole dynamics of it, they were able to get their stuff together in order to win this game. Get it together. And that's generally what you have to tell. I mean, I've done it in basketball. Get it together, right? Wake up, and you listen. Maryland turned teams over all season long. This is nothing new to them. They always have had DBs and skill position guys. We can break down all that stuff, and besides the main characters and the skill position guys, you got to give the offensive line credit.
Rhule said it was the best game, especially relative to competition.
Yeah. Well, they came in leading the Big Ten in sacks. They got the, falling asleep sack before the half. Otherwise, they did a pretty good job.
That was the only sack. That was it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying pressures. It's almost was like Dylan was too comfortable. Probably, you know what I mean? Where you went there and then you came late back there, and that was the first interception. I mean, that's all. I mean, you're pulling that, you're just grasping at straws, but you got to give him credit.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions for Rhule. Really good completion percentage. Again, just about 70%. And Jay, I think more than anything, it was good to see Nebraska handle that adversity, get up big. Matt Rhule says, of course, you get a 10-point lead and a 14-point lead in back-to-back weeks. You can't be giving those up in the Big Ten. Is Nebraska playing with too much fire, or is this just the nature of football, especially in the Big Ten, that, you're going to have your ups and your downs, and it's a positive sign that Nebraska's handling it better this year?
A little bit of both. But that's just what this is the learning process, the learning how to punish teams, learning how to punish teams that has a freshman quarterback that runs out of bounds on 4th down and sticks the ball past the 4th down while he's 3 yards out of bounds. You got to punish teams like that, that give you a free possession, right? And more time on the clock. And then how does that go to 2 or 3 series down the road when you're up 14 points or 10 points or in any game? Then you might get a field goal and put together a methodical drive and kick a field goal. You might have to work a little harder, but that gut punch of adding points to that lead pays off late in the game where they're desperate. You get sacks, turnovers, then let's be more aggressive. So I think putting all the pieces of the puzzle together is probably what they're trying to do. And it's, part of the learning process, but it's easier to kind of talk to them. I'm assuming they're having some meetings or whatever, 5-1, and knowing that you're going on the road on primetime TV. It's essentially a free bowl game come Friday night.
That it is. Nebraska and Minnesota been since 2015, since Nebraska's won in Minneapolis. Tracy Claeys was the head coach, the interim there for Minnesota.
Do you remember his shining moment? Tracy Claeys? You know what his signature, what he's known for? Eating a popsicle.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mr. Popsicle, Tracy Claeys.
He hadn't missed many, man, but yeah, I mean, it's a good opportunity. It's a great opportunity. I mean, this is not the typical Minnesota team.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska comes in heavily favored. They do. They'll be heavily favored by the time they kick off.
Mm-hmm. So it's a business trip.
Yeah. You got to validate it. You got to, I mean, they're going to be tough. I mean, they got good players. I mean, they got pride in what they're doing, but you got to go beat them.
We'll talk more about that throughout the course of the show and, of course, throughout the rest of the week. So for Friday, we'll have an hour of Old School. Then we'll get into our 3-hour official A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. But with the carnage at Penn State, we turn our attention to Happy Valley. Nebraska could stand to benefit. A couple of highly rated recruits tied to the Nittany Lions have backed off their commitments and could be visiting Nebraska in the near future. To break it all down, we got Brian Munson of Husker Online with us next.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you tired of your usual barbershop experience? Stop into Scissors and Scotch today. I know what you're thinking. Drink during a haircut? Don't worry. First comes the precision cut from one of their experienced barbers, followed by your complimentary cocktail in their upscale lounge. Scissors and Scotch blends your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. And now you can earn $10 off by simply mentioning the ticket. And if you're an existing member, still mention the ticket for an exclusive offer. Offer valid at Lincoln location only. Scissors and Scotch, located just south of 30th and Yankee Hill, and online at lincoln.scissorscotch.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here, and I've got some great news for you. Koppel Chevrolet GMC is proud to be the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln metros. Koppel is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. We want to say thank you to all of our customers that have helped us reach these milestones. So come see why so many customers, including myself, are choosing Koppel Chevrolet GMC for their automotive needs. Please check us out at koppelcars.com.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town. MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Mo's Moving is now Mo's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Drink locally and support local business during Lincoln's Craft Beer Week, October 11th through the 18th. Great beer, cider, distillates, and more are made right here in Lincoln. For more info, visit lincoln.org/beer-week. Brought to you by Visit Lincoln. Remember to enjoy responsibly.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Austin Norman with you here. We're headed to our Aloe Fiber VIP line. Aloe Fiber is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. It's 3:30 on a Monday, which means we're talking Nebraska football recruiting with none other than Brian Munson of Husker Online. Brian, the winds of change are swirling, have swirled across college sports already. 9 vacancies in Division I college football, the most recent of which, or certainly the most notable, is Penn State. Now, before we get to the Nebraska coaching ties to Penn State, you're on to talk about the players, right, and the prospects. And you've recently written about a couple of players with Penn State ties that Nebraska can get involved with. Let's start with the one that we know is coming to Lincoln, and that is a decommitted wide receiver, Khalil Taylor. What do you know about that young man and Nebraska's in with him?
Yeah, so this was this was pretty big news. It was later last week. I think it was pre-Franklin actually being fired, which was one of the most interesting parts about it. And Khalil came out and announced his decommitment. Well, obviously he's like right in PSU's backyard, so this could not have been an easy thing for him to walk away from a commitment, being a 2027 wide receiver. But as soon as he saw it, obviously like Trey Taylor was all over it. And in fact, I put like Trey Taylor's tweet about it, like saying like, I'm all over this, like I'm going to call him now, or I'm getting in touch with him, or getting involved, or something along those lines. And Khalil confirmed this morning that there is indeed a trip planned for him to be in Nebraska the end of October for the Northwestern game. Pretty significant turn of events there, obviously, because I think Nebraska is trying to do what's best they can. That 2027 class is still ranked number 5 in the country. I think that obviously Trey Taylor is still trying to, do his best to have his hands all over it and be in touch with all those guys. So it's going to be fun to watch, because I think Trey is scheduled to be in Lincoln that weekend for Northwestern, to hear kind of like what the thoughts are, and how things work between those guys when they're both together in Lincoln. So pretty big deal, I think, that, that Nebraska, and obviously they offered him, they offered Khalil, like in November of 2023, which I think would have been like at the end of his freshman year, his freshman season, in fact. So, he's had a commitment from the Huskers for a while, but it goes back to, Adam DeMichael, that's there with the university too, because he's got really Matt Rhule and Adam DeMichael and specifically have good connections into Pittsburgh.
Fascinating there. And then another guy from Penn State in the skill position core that Nebraska is now interested. Kamon Spell, the number one running back really in the consensus ratings, decommits from Penn State. And then within the last day, he gets an offer from Nebraska and he gets an offer from Oregon. Brian, we've talked a little bit about the state of Nebraska's running back room and their targets in the 2027 class. Does this shake up Nebraska's 2027 running back board at all?
Oh, I think it obviously has to. I think Nebraska's got to be very interested in hearing what, he's thinking about. I think it's, one of those things too, where, provided that Matt Rhule is going to remain the head coach at Nebraska, and having a guy that, that has maybe running a program, the way that like maybe PSU fans wish that it was happening there in Happy Valley and State College, PA, he might feel pretty at home with what's going on. And obviously, he's a kind of a Big Ten, wants to go play in the Big Ten from being committed to Penn State. I think that, what EJ is doing so far this season is brilliant. I think Nebraska can take that and sell it, when it comes to running back recruits and letting them know like what type of potential there is in the offense and what it is they could do if they came to Lincoln. So I think this is really kind of a perfect storm, for Nebraska to kind of circle back, on a couple of these guys, and you didn't mention it, but, like Josiah Teasley, the Virginia wide receiver that had just visited Nebraska, a week ago, had, an official visit set up to Penn State as well. Now all of a sudden, wonder where that's kind of at in the first place. So it might actually help out Nebraska for a 2026 guy that Penn State was also like in competition with Nebraska to go get. So there's a bunch of things happening on this front. That's for sure. And it's definitely created a lot of moving parts, more than what we've been talking about the last 4 or 5 weeks. Let's just put it that way.
And then, Brian, I think we have to address the Nittany Lion-sized elephant sitting in the room here, is that Nebraska's current head coach has ties back to Penn State. I think Husker fans would love to hear that news, that Nebraska is in position to potentially capitalize or at least get a foot in the door with all these top prospects, except that the school that these guys are decommitting from or are not as interested anymore only has maybe some of the strongest ties in the country to the guy currently in charge of running Nebraska's program. If you just from what you've seen and heard from Matt Rhule, assuming that there is mutual interest of some degree between him and Penn State, what do you think Matt Rhule is doing in terms of recruiting right now? Do you think he's the type of guy to keep recruiting to Nebraska, or in this situation, is he recruiting to himself? Like, hey, I like you as a player wherever it is I end up, whether it's Nebraska or Penn State, I want you there with me. And where does that leave the rest of Matt Rhule's coaching staff in terms of recruiting right now?
No, I think it's recruiting to Nebraska. I think that if there is a way of kind of doing like what you said, like recruiting to me and trying to kind of get things, more towards the coach than it is the school, that would be unfortunate. But I don't think that that's really in Coach Rhule's nature to kind of do that. But there's just an ethical quality, to that. I don't think he's got that gene in him to do that. Plus, I think that, and this is just me kind of saying this, I think the coach is important to a college player's decision, whatever, about where to go to, but it should be so far down the list. Like, you should make a decision, that doesn't even kind of consider who's sitting in that office. You should feel 100% great about everything else that's kind of going on there, even if like athletics was taken out of the equation entirely. So while I know that that's not necessarily the case, and I'm, probably just putting my parental hat on and kind of saying that, I don't feel like Matt Rhule would be capable of kind of twisting this a little bit and saying, recruit to me, and if I stay here, great, and if I end up going, then great. I basically check both boxes. I just feel like he's still in on the whole, this is a Nebraska type thing. I think Nebraska felt like, from the very beginning when they wanted to slow down in July, they kind of felt like these days were coming. Like so there would be some underachieving teams, and there have been. I think some of them have been very predictable. They haven't necessarily made the coaching change, like down in Gainesville. That's another one. But I think that there have been very predictable hot seats around the country. It just didn't really seem like it was going to be Franklin in the preseason number 2 team in the country. So things have definitely gone way, way wrong at State College, and it's opened up some opportunity for Nebraska in terms of recruits, and maybe even some opportunity for Matt Rhule to go back home if that's what he decides to do.
We're talking with Brian Munson of Husker Online here on 93.7 The Ticket. Brian joins us from Husker Online. He's our guy that we take a peek behind the curtain of Nebraska recruiting with. The other interesting thing, I think, from Matt Rhule's press conference today, Brian, was that he talked about, he wants Nebraska to be at the forefront of spending, and especially on the roster. And he talked about $30 to $40 million. Let's take that through the lens of a high school recruit. When you hear a head coach say that he wants his program, which again, as of now, is still Nebraska, to push toward the forefront and start getting a $30 or $40 million roster, should high school kids, hear that and have their ears perk up a little bit? Or is that something where they maybe have to be a little cautious and say, well, maybe more of that is in terms of the NILs, those already established players, and that's not necessarily for me right away?
Yeah, it's tricky. We don't really know how it all gets kind of made up. I think the stronger message is being sent right now to the Nebraska fan base. I think that there have been some very generous families to date that have kind of almost single-handedly kind of put Nebraska, of course, where they are since Matt Rhule had gotten to Lincoln. But I think that, as you hear that number, staggering number, 30 million to 40 million, I don't think it's sustainable, for a handful of families to kind of bear the burden of basically having to support everything that's going on there in the football department. So I think what it really was, it was kind of more a collective message to Husker Nation, like, hey, if we want to take this thing forward and you want me to stay here, these are the things, of course, that I'm concerned about, without kind of like really poking the bear and saying we need fundraising. I think he was kind of saying, there's a need for fundraising that goes beyond just what's kind of been happening in recent years.
It's a big number. And of course, it's going to be different for Nebraska versus, say, an Ohio State. And that's kind of the deal, Brian, is that Ohio State and its roster, Ohio State didn't go get a bunch of guys out of the transfer portal to win the title last year. I mean, obviously, Caleb Downs out of Alabama, and then the starting quarterback, Will Howard. But other than that, Ohio State kind of followed what Matt Rhule wants his program to be in terms of identifying, recruiting, and developing those players on campus. How do you think we see the price tag change maybe for developed players versus the mercenary rental transfer portal guys? Are we entering a phase in college football where the high school guys can start earning more than the transfer portal guys, or will the quick fixes always make the quickest buck?
I think the quick fixes are really going to always make kind of the quickest buck, because I think it's showing a gap, I think, in the roster and in somewhere in the depth chart. Maybe a guy transferred out, maybe a guy's been injured, maybe he's taken a medical and he's leaving the game. I think what Matt Rhule, and Ryan Day would love to get back to is just this more organic, development kind of way. And I think that you always have the best culture, I think, when that kind of happens, as opposed to, basically a melting pot of these 1 year, rentals that you want to put together. And hopefully you can, and it's a very talented group, almost like all-star like, but you just don't know how they're going to kind of come together with the team chemistry. I think you'd rather have that team chemistry in place and add a player that passes or checks all the boxes for you, like from an evaluation perspective. You could put him in the locker room, and it's, there's no grinding of the gears. There's no need to kind of really make them feel at home, because they know that they feel like, that's a group that's destined to go play really good football, and they need that person to kind of step into a role. So kind of a Rocco thing, coming off a college football playoff a year ago. That being said, I think ultimately what these coaches hope happens is exactly like what you said. It's like more of a 95% to 5% kind of thing with the classes, that you get all of your guys basically in your high school classes and you get them in the program. There's going to be some filtering that happens, obviously, but that there's a smaller number of those 1 year rentals or 2 year rental guys, because you lock up a lot of money. And Nebraska did. They locked up a lot of money in the month of January when it came to all the transfers that they brought in.
That they did. That's your look at Nebraska football recruiting with Brian Munson of Husker Online. I know we're about 12 days out yet, Brian, but anything on your radar for Nebraska Northwestern aside from Khalil Taylor at the end of the month?
So Khalil, and I think that one thing that's dangerous here, and I wanted to ask Khalil this earlier, but I let it go. Start time. What's your kickoff time, for Northwestern? I think that's really going to be something very interesting to kind of watch. The later, obviously, it is, the more players that they potentially could kind of bring in there during that weekend. But no, not yet. And I think the start time has been one of those kind of inhibitors to keep us from kind of finding out more people that would be interested in coming in during that point. I'm assuming that Taylor has a very clear understanding that he can get out on Friday night or very early on Saturday morning and make it to Lincoln. Otherwise, he would not have told me that this morning.
There you have it. Stay tuned for more on Husker Online from our friend Brian Munson. Find him on Twitter at @BrianMunson_ as well. Brian, thanks as always for your insight. We'll catch up again with more maybe clarity on this saga next week.
Be good, buddy. We'll see you.
He always says be good, and I can't ever promise that, but we do our best. Brian joined us on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Allo Fiber is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Allo is the official internet provider of the Huskers as well. We will go to break, bring Jay Foreman back in, talk some Nebraska defense before we turn the page to the big question. Will Matt Rhule be coaching Nebraska football in 2026? Hear everything that Matt Rhule had to say about the Penn State job opening, his current gig at Nebraska, and plenty more. That's all coming up right at 4.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Nutrition Authority invites you to try Blitz 250. Blitz 250 is a fully loaded pre-workout for those who want the most out of their workouts. Blitz 250 is safe for sport and banned substance free. Blitz 250 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. For location info, check us out at mynutritionauthority.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, slight chance of showers, especially this afternoon. Otherwise, probably sunny skies and be breezy. The high around 67. Tonight, a chance of showers, the low around 54. And tomorrow, a continued chance of scattered showers. Otherwise, cloudy skies with the high around 67. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, everybody. Charlie Stone back again with Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, there are so many great things to talk about right now. Let's start with new and pre-owned vehicles.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, we're all excited those days of inventory shortages are behind us. Right now, we have more than 400 new Hondas to choose from and over 125 pre-owned with just about any make or model in stock.
I know certified pre-owned Hondas are a very important part of your dealership. Tell us about certified, Andy.
We always have a great selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in stock in like new condition, and they also come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
How about service?
You know, our amazing service department not only services Hondas, but we service just about any make, and we are one of the largest tire dealers in the state. Look us up the next time you need tires on your car.
Experience the best at the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Are you tired of your usual barbershop experience? Stop into Scissors and Scotch today. I know what you're thinking. Drink during a haircut? Don't worry. First comes the precision cut from one of their experienced barbers, followed by your complimentary cocktail in their upscale lounge. Scissors and Scotch blends your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. And now you can earn $10 off by simply mentioning the ticket. And if you're an existing member, still mention the ticket for an exclusive offer. Offer valid at Lincoln location only. Scissors and Scotch, located just south of 30th and Yankee Hill, and online at lincoln.scissorscotch.com.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrapping up hour 1 of Old School, Austin Norman and Jay Foreman with you here. Before we get to, again, the key question of the day, of the week, maybe of the rest of Nebraska's season, Jay, I do want to give some flowers to the defense for Nebraska. Again, you give up 31 points, not exactly a banner day. 24 from, I guess, the defense gave up at the 7 from the pick 6. But 2 players I think really deserve to be highlighted. Number 1, Javen Wright, another great game for him. He ends up with 12 tackles, 9 of them solo after a great game last week. And this is kind of the mixed bag because he didn't show up in the stat sheet, didn't record a single tackle at all. That's Williams-Nwaneri. No stats, but Pro Football Focus credited him with 8 quarterback pressures, the most among all Big Ten defenders from week 7. Kind of hard to make that big of an impact on a game and have no stats, which you'd like to see for a guy that's supposed to be a productive defensive end for Nebraska. But I thought even despite the lack of traditional counting stats, Williams-Nwaneri made his impact felt for a second straight week.
Yeah, I mean, stats don't always, tell the whole truth. And, when you have that many pressures, you're active. When you have a linebacker group that's very active, you have 22 tackles on the stat sheet, and 1 tackle for loss between your linebacker group. There's not a lot of plays to be made. You play 2 linebackers, per defensive personnel group. They're getting pretty active, and so look, Williams-Nwaneri is slowly but surely. I wouldn't say slowly anymore, but he's rounded into shape and trying to, continue to play up to his potential. You got to think he's still a freshman. And so he's out there every day is a learning process for him. He's really, I'll say this, from when he came in the spring, you saw him, obviously his physical tools and walking around is, obviously what sets him apart. But I think that his dedication to the weight room and really changing his body has led to his production, stat sheet or not. So, you need efforts like that. You need your guys to, really you need those type of pressures to get that quarterback from Maryland off of his mark, because he was uncomfortable all day. And for him being a freshman and a pretty quarterback, allowed for, him to really struggle at times. And that's what was a big part of Nebraska's defense playing well.
Excuse me. Nebraska gets the final stop as well, forcing the turnover on down. So Nebraska takes one snap and kneels it out. Jay, and maybe I'll talk about this on the whiteboard. And if you are, go ahead and stop me. But a play or a concept that I thought Nebraska made it splash plays on defensively is one that we've seen Nebraska run on offense quite a bit, except that Maryland didn't put their tight end in motion. Sometimes you'll see Nebraska use its tight end to take out that backside guy out of motion.
Yeah.
Well, Maryland kept their guy at a standstill on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, made the tight end come way across, but Cade Pedchock's tackle for loss, and then Dasan McCullough's tackle for loss there at the start of the fourth quarter, they beat the tight end to the spot. I thought that was pretty impressive on those two plays from those two guys.
Yeah, and it was that was a mishap on Maryland's schematic or scheme wise, and it's very surprising. Pep Hamilton's a well-traveled, well-respected play caller, so the design of the play was wrong, or the play was good. The design in that obviously was wrong, and the execution.
But Nebraska made it wrong too.
Correct. And it's good because you don't want a defensive end seeing it and just standing there and then he kind of waiting to get blocked. And so it's probably something that Maryland's going to make an adjustment to, but they can make an adjustment all they want after this Saturday, because Nebraska was able to make some pretty big those were momentum shifting plays during the drive. And it's obviously something that they were trying to do, and Nebraska made them wrong both times.
Penn State made an adjustment at head coach. Well, Nebraska need to make an adjustment at head coach.
I feel bad, though. No.
Do you?
I do. I like James Franklin. I'm just was mad at him because every time we went in light skin for the win, we didn't do it.
It did not happen.
I'm still surprised, though.
Let's talk about it.
I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised.
Let's talk about it. We'll take the Penn State angle first, and then here's the question. Will Matt Rhule be coaching Nebraska football in 2026?
We're going to call him right now.
That's ahead at 4 and 5 o'clock.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years. With testosterone therapy from Limitless Male, you can turn back the aging clock and get your edge, energy, and confidence back. If you've lost your drive, sleep deprived, muscle loss, belly fat, irritable, you're not the guy you once were. Get your T levels checked at Limitless Male. More and more men are realizing hormone replacement can turn back the clock. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Cobalt Diesel would like to remind all of our lady listeners that breast cancer is a serious issue. 1 out of 8 women fall victim to the silent predator. But if detected early, steps can be taken towards the treatment and prevention. Ladies, please schedule a complete physical exam and a breast cancer screening today. Cobalt Diesel, for all your heavy-duty diesel and equipment repair, services, needs, and more. Call Cobalt Diesel today at 402-202-5962 or www.cobaltdiesel.com. Cobalt Diesel, on the air because they care.
This is your year, where your team takes it all the way. Win way more than bragging rights at Warhorse Casino, where your love of the game could put $1 million in your pocket. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with prizes all season long. Weekly cash prizes up to $1,000 cash, season-long leaderboards, and a chance to win $1 million. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
After a long, hot summer, are you ready for fall? What about your home? Is your heating system ready for cooler temperatures ahead? Call Bryant for your fall heating check. No matter what brand of equipment you own, Bryant's trained technicians will thoroughly clean and inspect your furnace or heat pump to make sure you stay warm, safe, and comfortable. Call today to schedule your home heating check. 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And Electrical.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome to it. Here we are officially on stream. You can see us now. Got the cameras fixed. So we're back. Austin Orman and Jay Foreman with you on Old School, brought to you by who, Jay?
The Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th in Yankee Hill, 85th in Laundromat, and 168th in Maple up there in the
Indeed. Let's jump right into it. We'll start with the Penn State aspect of this coaching search. Well, let's hear from their athletic director, Pat Kraft. This was from the Big Ten Network, from his press conference regarding the firing of James Franklin. Was it a difficult decision, or how difficult of a decision was it for Pat Kraft to fire James Franklin? Here is the Penn State athletic director.
You know, I'm going to be very transparent with you all. This was extremely, extremely difficult. It's been a very difficult 48 hours. I felt after Saturday and sitting down and looking at everything that where we were and what was in the best interest of my kids, my student athletes, and my kids, meaning, you guys know I call our athletes kids, my kids, and where the program was going, that this time we just had to make the hard decision. And look, as all of you know, as leaders, when you lead an organization like this, when you've made the decision you have to make the decision with a whole heart and with conviction. And so, I was going to sleep on it on Sunday, and but I knew it was the right course of action for us as a program, and more importantly for the team. So that's kind of how it transpired. You take data, right? This is not a 3-game thing. This is really diving into where we were as a program. What is the trajectory of this program? And you all know, and I'm not shy to admit it, I'm here to win national championship. I believe our fans deserve that. And I wake up every day trying to achieve that goal.
It's not just a 3-game deal. 3 games being interesting, of course, Jay, because Oregon, UCLA, and Northwestern. He said it's more about the trajectory of the program, leading you to believe Pat Kraft thinks Penn State's hit a wall.
Maybe so. I mean, time will tell. I think when you, obviously I don't know Pat Kraft at all, but I just know, just listening to him, you could tell there was some angst there that he made it. He feels that he made the right decision. But voicing it, it's still, it's like a breakup, I guess. And I know Pat Kraft has only been there for like a year and a half, 2 years.
Mhm.
And so, he's there. He never envisioned that. He didn't come there with the I'm taking the job to get rid of James Franklin. I'm sure there might have been a difference in opinion. James Franklin has a new boss and all that. And so there's look, you got to start over. And he probably, you might feel like your coach might feel like he proved himself. There's all those type of like stuff that goes on. But, when college football continues to change, your idea of your program has to change because you have to move. You got to elevate. You got to pause a little bit. And, whatever Penn State feels like they're at, it's been conversations probably going on for some time and maybe in the last year. And you just never know. And you never know what with the inner workings. I would guesstimate that Northwestern was the cherry on top
of the poop Sunday.
It's like, all right, I told you he needed to go. No, I'm just like, but he's a winning coach. He brought Penn State back to being relevant nationally. You could probably say they maybe exceeded expectations. I felt like they were on the come up in the cusp of maybe getting over the edge and being.
Well, they were 2 drives away from playing for a title last year.
Right. So, but you're like, oh, they came so far, like quickly in this last year, and they seemed like they had another gear, like they had a little bit more nastiness, togetherness, and so that's where you go into the off season, and this is where there's expectations, and he's probably talking standard, right? He's talking standard,
little stuff that we might not see.
Yeah, and then obviously it's the big stuff, which you see on Saturday you didn't see, right? But that's where the expectations, I think, fans and stuff like that get out of whack, because then you start to do the comparison thing, right? They were able to bring back the 2 running backs. They bring back their quarterback, of course. They felt like they upgraded at the wide receiver position. You made some changes, in the coaching staff. And then you're like, you know what? Ohio State did it, so we can do it because we did like their plan. So then then everybody comes into the season expecting to be the Ohio State team that caught fire after getting embarrassed against Michigan. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But they forget Ohio State went to Oregon and dookie down their leg. Ohio State, up until really losing to Michigan, they looked pedestrian for their talent level offensively. I could argue with you, no matter if Ohio State was asleep at 11 o'clock, I would say that Nebraska could have beat them 2 or 3 times. You right? Dante Dowdell cuts left. He's still running. Right. So it wasn't a very finished product. What fans held on to when you start to bring back and re-up your roster, right? And you get an investment when you're bringing back your roster, they start to do the comparison. Well, there isn't a comparison because every team that you coach, even with the same players, year to year is a different team. And then there's probably, some stuff that James Franklin wanted. He probably felt like he had a little bit more, control of the lay of the land. You got a new boss. You lose 3 in a row. Look a little stagnant. Over time, over recent history, the offense has been suspect at best.
Hasn't stepped up when you've needed it to, for the most part.
Right. You haven't really taken advantage of having right now who's the best running back in the league, and that, McSorley was probably the best quarterback you've had, production wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Clifford was probably he might be the most, like, stat wise, right? He's the lead. Yeah. So Clifford,
mm-hmm.
and maybe not in real like today is that, but it's all those things when you think of. So if you're talking to somebody about some of the issues, you're talking about the offense. You got to think when Clifford, his last year, set all the records, they really wanted to usher him out for Drew Aller.
Mm-hmm.
I know that because we talked extensively on Big Ten Network, right? So you want to usher out our best guy. There's some
for Hackenberg 2.0,
right? And there's some turmoil because of that. And then you got Drew Aller. You expect, okay, he's going to be a first round. He's coming back and going to take a huge year. It's just a lot of things that come in. It just 15 days ago, or 16 days or 17 days ago, he's on the set about to play Oregon at home.
Yeah.
And looked
bad, looked good, had everything, lost
a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
Those are ugly games in the sense of Oregon's got good talent. You've got good talent. They just pulled it out at the end. You can live with that. Well, then you go all the way out to LA, and that was, I think that game was the worst. I'm gonna tell you why. UCLA is left for dead. All right. They beat the tar out of you. They embarrassed you.
They ran for almost 300 on you.
Right. On the one unit that you always pack, your
mm-hmm.
defense, and the one unit that you essentially took from Ohio State defensive coordinator.
You're paying him $3.1 million to get him from Ohio State, by the way.
And no adjustments were made.
Not a one.
And then the next week, Northwestern at the crib.
Not their crib, your crib.
I think maybe he knew that after that loss. You see how long he stood on that field?
He might still be standing there.
I don't know. I know it's a hard decision. It's never easy. I mean, here's what I think. Here's where I'm not a big fire the coach guy. I'm not. You get a lot of guys on here, or on airways. Always like, it's coaching and all that. Like, I know I'm a player led type of dude. That's how we won. Period.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the only way you're gonna win.
Jay Foreman says Nebraska could have won without Tom Osborne. More at 5.
Yeah, but that's the only way you're gonna win. Accountability in that locker room. But also, you got to understand when decisions are made, okay? And this is probably you even said it, like, you can even say a little bit the way Trev left, or what, Scott handled himself, or whatever it is, right? Like, when James Franklin's fired, it's not just James Franklin, all right? He worked at his job. It wasn't like he wasn't never around, and all that stuff. So it affects more people. That doesn't mean that you don't make those decisions or have an opinion, but it's not just him. It's a true leadership position. What you do, X's and O's, a lot of times is secondary.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, especially now in the day and age of the CEO coach.
Right. So I know for a fact that his tenure there is way more positive than negative. He probably did more good than bad, and probably it was like a little bit of a button of the heads.
We have a commenter on YouTube who wants to know, is this Penn State's Frank Solich moment?
Oh, we'll see. I don't know.
It can be if they handle it wrong.
It can be if they handle it.
It can be their Mark Richt to Kirby Smart if they handle it right.
Right, but here's the difference between Frank Solich to Callahan, Mark Richt to Kirby Smart. And I'm glad thank you. You just threw me a softball. I just hit it out like, what's her name? Jordy Ball.
You haven't swung yet. Let's see.
Does Jordy Ball hit home runs?
Plenty of them.
All right,
hit 20.
I'm just kidding. That's exactly. See, you fell for it too.
I did. There's a banana in my tailpipe. All right.
See, the difference is when Frank was fired. And sure, if you wanted to fire him, that's fine. But when you did that, you purposely changed and took out the fabric of Nebraska. Okay. wholeheartedly and on purpose.
From nylon to polyester,
Yeah,
baby.
so you just stripped it down and took the fabric out of 30, 40 years of domination and winning, and then put a complete reset. The other schools readjusted. So Mark Richt didn't come in and just strip everything of the Georgia Bulldogs of all the past. He just, or not Mark Richt, Kirby Smart came in. He just made it better. He get the edge. It's no different than John Gruden going to Tampa Bay. He didn't come in and like, oh, we're gonna just scrap that defense that was so good. And you know, he said, you do your thing, Monty Kiffin. I'm gonna do my thing, and we're gonna win a Super Bowl. That's the difference. So how they handle it is there. You know, there's going to be plenty of excuses or plenty of things, and you hear it here all the time. Anytime you know, Nebraska's always been the, you know, I guess the analogy. Okay, you know, Nebraska has a brown-haired wife. The next thing you know, just because you got to go blonde next, or you do this and that. If you have an offensive coach, you got to go defensive coach. If you get an assistant coach, it's got to be the head coach next. At some point in time, this is across the nation, you got to hire the best coaches and the best dudes. They win.
Mm-hmm.
So
Google him.
Yeah. Yeah, he went. But I'm just saying that's what you got to do. So whoever's the best for Penn State, they got to hire him.
Who could be the best for Penn State? There's an obvious name that comes to mind for a lot of people, including potentially Penn State's athletic director, Pat Kraft. Let's just hear the full answer from Matt Rhule. The first question he got asked in the press conference. Matt Rhule on the rumors of him and Penn State.
Yeah, well, I love Penn State. Met my wife there. It's my alma mater. Fan since I was born. I think probably had a Penn State shirt when I was born. I love Pat Kraft. And really sad to see Coach Franklin go. You know, when you think about what he did for my alma mater, you know that the program was in peril, right? I mean, the players, if people remember, like the historic sanctions, you could transfer out, you could do whatever you want. Bill O'Brien comes in, stabilizes it for 2 years. James takes over a program in disarray and gives stability, excellence, and to see videos of people like yelling at his kids, and like I just don't understand why in our country, like now, like coaches are villains. Like, you know how hard I worked in Carolina, and the things that were said to me, or you know how hard I work here, and some of the things that are said, our coaches work here, how hard Sat worked last year. So I'm just really sad about that part of it. And people say, well, you make a lot of money. Making a lot of money doesn't make your kids feel good when they're hearing that. Make a lot of money. It's nice to make a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but still people. So I really respect James Franklin. Troy and I are in unbelievable relationship too. And Troy and I are in constant communication about this program and where we're headed. I came here for two reasons. I love the community here and wanted to live here, and I love it here. And I wanted to rebuild Nebraska football. And, Troy and I understand the steps that you need to take to make us Big Ten champions and national champions. This place is elite. And I want to be a great father, and I want to be a great college football coach. And so, I'm not going to talk a lot about job openings when they come. Maybe it's been a while here, but this is what happens when you win. I've dealt with it. We've won at Temple, and I dealt with it all the time. I've dealt with Baylor. I'm not going to talk about those things ever. I'm not going to talk about my contract here. I'm going to talk about the team. But yeah, I absolutely love it here. And I want us to continue to take the steps needed for us to turn this thing into a beast. And players all across the country want to come here. We have the best facilities. We have elite fans. And, I'm just looking at the future. So, but again, I love that place. I love Pat. I love James Franklin. Sad that came to an end. I wish him the absolute best, but I'm really happy here and excited to get going this week on Minnesota.
All right, Jay. What do you think?
I mean, what else could he say? I mean, he's head coach of Nebraska. He likes it here. I mean, it's, I always said this anytime I said this about when, about recruiting the local, obviously there's a lot of local kids here that are going to, it's good, and that means he's doing something right besides being a former Nittany Lion. Is it Nittany Lion?
Nittany. Nittany.
Nittany Lion. Yes. So sure. And there's the dynamics of, that's one of his close friends. And so sure, you can make that, instant connections, but it's got to be right. And I'm sure he's looking at, the only thing that he needs to do and worry about is do his job here. That will take care of itself if that ever it comes to fruition or it comes, an option. Then he has to make a true decision. Just because James Franklin got fired, and and obviously his name's in there, multiple guys up there, but obviously he knows the way, the Penn State way, and so quite naturally people are going to ask questions and stuff like that. And there's nothing else you can say.
You know what Matt Rhule said would make his job easier? More money. What does Matt Rhule have to say about the future of investment? Here's the head coach.
Yeah, I think really now when you talk about football, we have the best facilities. We have the staff. There's really not many things yet. I mean, what Trev started and Troy has been elite. I mean, Troy's, like I said, he's a thought leader. He's a difference maker, and the investment from everybody. The thing I've always said is, like, we have to be unabashed. We can't always worry about the optics of everything. Like, it's a really hard time in higher education. There's cuts, there's all these different things, but we're athletics here is a separate entity. Like, we're not taking money from the university. And so the schools that invest, Dan Lanning had a great quote. I mean, when Oklahoma State, he said, we're investing to win. And that's just players, right? And so, there's, in a world of like $30 and $40 million rosters, which isn't going away, I'd like us to do the same thing. And there's sort of like hey, that's not really the Nebraska way. And I'd like it to be. I'd like to invest. I'd like to be at the front of everything. Like weren't we one of the first teams to ever do training table? And weren't we one of the first teams to ever do like academic support? And weren't we one of the first teams to do AstroTurf, at the time Field Turf? And weren't we one of the first teams to have a jumbo board? But now, like, now we're talking about stadium, and everyone's like, didn't they build the Memorial Stadium faster than they built the Capitol? Like, we've invested. We have a history here of being at the forefront and investing. And I just don't want to stop that. I just want to be the absolute best at it. And so, but like, just for one thing, just as we move forward, like I said, I'm not going to talk about it very often. I'm certainly not going to talk about it like with anyone other than my wife, but Julie decides where we live. so this has been an unbelievable, her business. She loves it. It's been an unbelievable time in our lives. And I just think we can be a perennial top of the country, one of the best teams in the country. Now, I told our team, like, this is just part of winning. Like I tell our players, like, if you're a good player, everyone should be hitting you up to go in the portal. Do you think people are calling Ja'Cory Barney right now and saying, hey, why don't you come here and play for us? Hell yeah, they are. You know what I'm saying? Because you're winning. 2 weeks ago, I walked into the team. He'll get mad at me for saying this, but I told our team 2 weeks ago, I walked into the team meeting before the Michigan State game, and College Game Day was on. It said College Game Day had Husker fans tired of Rhule, wish they had Signetti, fire. So now all of a sudden 2 weeks later, people like me. I just, I love my players and I love the fans and I love all of this. Like, this is a great place. And I just want us to be positive about this place and where we're headed. Like, are we better than where we were? I haven't done it as fast as maybe some other people do, but we've done it better than some other people have in the last 2 years too. We're in a good place. And so I just want to keep rolling though. And that's why Troy's so elite.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things there that you can unpack. Unpack. I've always said this. Just take Matt Rhule and them out of it. I always felt like Nebraska, at least up until recent, and I talked to Trev about this. When he was here. Nebraska was always late to the party, and my analogy was it was ladies' night and it started at 9 and you got there at 11. and the reason why I'm saying that is like you got to be at the forefront of everything. Now you got to spin.
And Nebraska was when it was winning,
right? But then
it fell behind.
Yeah, but I just said. I'm not talking to you. I'm just saying. I just said when you take the fabric away from the program, okay, those people that made a decision to do that are wrong. It did not work. Matter of fact, I went on another network or station. What do you call another station here in Nebraska? And everybody thought I was crazy. Well, I was a prophet.
You might be crazy, but you're also a prophet.
Because I knew what was coming. And college football was changing. And so you got to be at the forefront. You got to be in the forefront of the way you think. And you also have to be in the forefront of how you do things internally, externally, internally as well. You can't just, you know what I mean? It's not conditional. When you go I've been very fortunate to go and just hang out at places because I had different coaches and stuff like that. And bored, I go hang out because I just wanted to see before I would ever talk about Nebraska. I would want to go see other places and see and just kind of feel the vibe, see how they do things, walk around and do stuff like that. You know what I mean? And hang out for like the spring. I went up to Minnesota for a while. I went, down. I've been other places, Georgia, Alabama, because I have coaches that have been there. So you just got to do it, and then you got to invest. You got to get players. Then the players got to live up to their billing, their paychecks, and that's the other part of it, right? And so. Nebraska's way better than they are before. You can't do the comparison. You never do that. Never do that because I learned that in the NFL at times where there's other factors that go into things that when you look at some guys, you see, okay, well, I remember when I was coming up for my first deal, I was looking at your agent sends you this thing and you compare guys or whatever. Like you beat him in the stats wise, but what has he done and how long has he been there? Who's in the organization that really has an affinity for him, X, Y, and Z, right?
Mhm.
So, look, they got to do it. You got to continue to win. You got to do what you got to do. And, I think it's kind of the chicken and the egg, right?
Yeah.
Does winning get you more money or does the support get you more money than you win? I don't even know if there's ever an answer, but the best thing you can do is win and then deal with it afterwards.
Nebraska winning more, Penn State not winning enough to keep James Franklin employed. We'll keep talking about this in our next segment. We'll hear a little bit more from Matt Rhule and a couple key questions for Matt Rhule for Nebraska and Penn State. He's Husker Hall of Famer, 9-year NFL vet, Jay Foreman. I'm Austin Norman. This is Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The temperature and leaves are falling daily, so that means it's time for a new pair of shoes for the fall season from Brown's Shoe Fit. Now through October 31st, take $15 off any regularly priced fall shoes and boots. Brands like Keen, Oboz, Echo, Taos, and Atrex all $15 off. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This is the sale you've all been waiting for, so get down to Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Parkview Animal Hospital and Corn Coast Brewing Company invite you to join them October 18th for Ales Helping Tales at Corn Coast Brewery in Lincoln. Enjoy a limited edition brew available at both Corn Coast Brewing locations in Lincoln and Omaha, as a portion of the proceeds will go to support Brave Animal Rescue in their efforts to help find dogs and cats their forever homes. Parkview Animal Hospital will be on location with great raffle prizes and helping bring awareness about pets in need. They hope to see you there.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Cobalt Diesel would like to remind all of our lady listeners that breast cancer is a serious issue. 1 out of 8 women fall victim to the silent predator, but if detected early, steps can be taken towards the treatment and prevention. Ladies, please schedule a complete physical exam and a breast cancer screening today. Cobalt Diesel, for all your heavy-duty diesel and equipment repair, services, needs, and more. Call Cobalt Diesel today at 402-202-5962 or www.cobaltdiesel.com. Cobalt Diesel, On the air because they care.
It's the best time of the year to order a new John Deere self-propelled windrower from Landmark Implement during the early order program. Hay harvest is a race against time. Order a new John Deere self-propelled windrower to harvest your hay quickly and efficiently while promoting quick dry down for quality hay. Now is the time to lock in the best price of the year. Contact your local Landmark location for full details on a new self-propelled windrower and experience the Landmark difference.
Hi, I'm Sarai, your personal banker here at Midwest Bank. I'm proud to serve our community in English and in Espanol because everyone deserves a banker who understands them. This Hispanic Heritage Month, we're celebrating the traditions, values, and dreams that make our community strong. Whether you're opening your first account, planning for the future, or growing your business, estoy aquí para ayudarle a alcanzar sus metas. I'm here to help you reach your goals. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Hi, Sean Callahan here, and I've got some great news for you. Koppel Chevrolet GMC is proud to be the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln metros. Koppel is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. We want to say thank you to all of our customers that have helped us reach these milestones. So come see why so many customers, including myself, are choosing Koppel Chevrolet GMC for their automotive needs. Please check us out at koppelcars.com.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, slight chance of showers, especially this afternoon. Otherwise, partly sunny skies will be breezy. The high around 67. Tonight, a chance of showers, the low around 54. And tomorrow, a continued chance of scattered showers. Otherwise, cloudy skies with the high around 67. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School. Austin Norman and Jay Foreman with you. This segment of our proceedings brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. They're based out of Hallam, Nebraska. They offer a free estimate full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty on everything while keeping their prices affordable. Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today for more info at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. We got a little bit of a window into the mindset for Matt Rhule and Penn State. Starter Heyman Jewelers text line, we see your comments, we see your questions. We'll get to them throughout the course of the rest of the show. But, Jay, I really think we're going to learn a lot about Matt Rhule. And, you know, if he leaves Nebraska, he's not a terrible person. If he stays at Nebraska, it doesn't automatically make him the best person the world's ever seen. But I am fascinated to see how this saga plays out. Because clearly Matt Rhule has leverage over Nebraska, maybe even a little bit with Penn State. And to see how he utilizes that leverage and how he plays the cards that he's holding right now, him and his agent and his family, of course, it's going to be a fascinating saga to see play out.
Yeah, I mean, He's got some leverage. Of course you do. Anytime somebody calls you and it's also up to your discretion on how you use that leverage, right? I think there's ways to look at it. Like I would probably say at some point in time, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Kirk Ferentz, but he used that leverage every time a job came open. And I remember seeing his name up for the Jacksonville Jaguars like 2 times, like 2 different guys that were hired and fired.
Mm-hmm.
It was always, and then he'd get a new contract. So then finally Iowa said, you just get a lifetime contract. Right. So maybe that's what he wanted. He had to use his leverage there. So then remember, like with PJ Fleck up until recently with UCLA, he was always Michigan State as well. And then obviously I think the connection with him in Minnesota started to come into true fruition. You can have leverage. You can have leverage at a university, and for instance, you have Oklahoma State had leverage on Gundy, probably for things outside of coaching that they use, right?
Because of coaching,
because they had the leverage. They had true hard because they felt like, okay, we can fire you for cause, hung up in court, or you can take a pay cut, so forth and so on. They end up firing them anyways. I think leverage is all about when you use it, how you use it, and how many times you use it. I don't think, you can be respectful when you use it. And then also you have to recognize when somebody has leverage, you got to make a decision. But then so it'll be interesting to see it. But I think also the best thing that you could do, and I'm just going from my perspective, the few times in the NFL where you do have some leverage, that's when you play well. I think the best thing that I ever did, the 2 times that I got re-upped, was I remember the first time. It was almost like every game driving home from Buffalo from year 3 to 4 to 5, up until I had the conversation between year 3 and 4, I think, with my agent such a long time ago. I remember calling him every single game, like literally looking at the stat sheet, looking if we won, trying to find out what other guys across the league either did or what they're getting. And then finally we just came to conclusion. It was me. I remember, never forget, it was me. My dad was in town. It was me, my dad, my agent. And we said, you know what? You just do what you need to do, and you do what you're doing now, and then do it even better. I'll take care of the business part. So really, you just got to go up to Minnesota, wax their tail, and I don't know if he has an agent or whatever, and then they got to do what they got to do. And who knows? I mean, if Penn State offers him a job, then he's got a real decision to make.
1508 on our text line, Starter Heyman Jewelers text line, says, Rhule not putting out a definitive no, I'm staying, and getting the distraction out of the air means he's either going for a bigger contract with Nebraska or he's leaving Nebraska. Those are really the 2 outcomes. Either gets an extension and or a raise, or he goes somewhere else, right? That's typically how this goes. But I would argue, Jay, I would argue the prudent thing for Nebraska to do is to pump the brakes. You heard Matt Rhule say a couple things. Number one, me and Troy Dannon have an unbelievable relationship. I believe it. They seem to be in lockstep, right? Troy Dannon, football first AD, seems like he's given Matt Rhule everything he could ask for and more. Matt Rhule also said a couple magic numbers, 30 and 40 million in terms of the roster. Okay, so if I'm Troy Dannon and I hear that, number one, Troy Dannon has been through this rigmarole enough times, I believe, to not let himself get played by an agent, to not go above and beyond and overboard. And that's what I think Nebraska needs to avoid. Because if Matt Rhule is telling the truth, of $30 to $40 million, and maybe that's not his actual number, maybe he's just trying to get Nebraska to spend more than it currently is on the roster for the players. Let's take that part to be true at the very least. Well, the easiest way to spend money on players is to spend less money on coaches. There are no sports in the world outside of college basketball and college football where the coaches make such a high percentage of the revenue, take up so much space on the line item budget. NFL coaches aren't making what a bunch of college coaches are. NBA coaches, MLB managers, Premier League even, in some cases, right? So if Matt Rhule's telling the truth that the rosters are going to get more expensive and they need to spend more, Troy Dannon, I think, can use that with Matt Rhule and say, hey, Matt, you're my guy. I hired you. I've given you everything you want. my confidence in you hasn't shaken. But if you want money to spend on the players, there's only so much we can do for you. The worst thing Nebraska can do in an era, in a world where paying players is as important, if not more important, than paying coaches, the best thing Nebraska can do is not force more money to be tied up in coaches. Either real money in terms of year-over-year salary, which does continue to go up for Matt Rhule per the terms of his regular agreement, or in adding new money and extended money that could pop up in terms of a buyout. Nebraska can't afford to have that money tied up. You got to do enough to show your guy in recruits that, yeah, this is our guy. We got to stick with him.
Yeah.
But if you're Matt Rhule, either you said that on purpose because you want to stay in Nebraska and you're trying to get more money for your roster, or you're trying to get out of Nebraska because you know they won't be able to pony up that money because they'll have to tie it into you.
I mean, you can be right on all angles. I mean, I think right now, and this is what happens. And he said it: when you win, you're gonna have people. Look, you're gonna have people come knocking at your door. I've talked to you about stuff that people come knocking. It's just how you handle it. It's like, is it for real? That sometimes the same people come knocking at the same time. Now, this isn't the case. Now, it's just it becomes real when there's actually concrete conversations, and you got to make a decision. All this what if doesn't really mean anything. But since we're talking about it, sure. You have a threshold of everything. Sure. But I would say this to the opposite, though. How easy it is. You say, okay, we got to go get more players. Well, then you got to cut some dudes, too. All right?
For sure.
Because then you got to have the conversation and say, look, dude, you ain't pulling your weight at your price tag. So you can gain money by actually spending money more efficiently. You can I would argue that you're saying, like, don't invest in the coaches. Okay. You can. I'm gonna push back on that because Alabama for years has had the biggest coaching staff under Nick Saban in history. Now they might not have been coaches, but they were coaches.
And see, I agree. I'm not saying don't invest in coaches. I'm saying don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm not saying never extend Matt Rhule. I'm not saying don't extend him now. I'm saying we've seen Nebraska get played before.
But if you're asking for more, this is me. I'm putting more in everything. We're saying the same thing.
But does Nebraska have more? Because if Matt Rhule just wants more for himself, that's a problem. Because clearly Nebraska needs more
money everywhere else.
It needs to be everywhere.
We're putting money everywhere. But I need to get paid. I need that Quan.
Right, which is why it would be stupid for Matt Rhule to shut the door on Penn State or not have his agent go ask Nebraska for an extension. He has to do that. That's the business. You'd be stupid to not do that.
Yeah, that's the stuff that happens when you get in your car and drive home.
But if Rhule asks for 4 years, an extra $20 million, if you're Troy, you try to get down to 2 and 10.
I don't know what. I guess. I mean, look, Troy's not he's not. This isn't his first rodeo.
I know.
So he knows. Eventually, a conversation's coming. Right? It's like, like I'll tell you, like first time, like one of my kids asked me, my oldest asked, "Can I get extension on my curfew?" The conversation's coming. Comes once you say you can't. All right, you're not getting the phone till you're 14. All right, well, you're 14. I know it's coming, right? So it's just communication's got to be key. Reality needs to be key. But the main thing's got to be the main thing because you don't get to those conversations if you don't handle your business in the meantime. But I do think you can solve all those problems. I think you can operate more efficiently. I think you can add different aspects as well. Like there, I think you could pop some money into players if you need to. I don't know the financials and all that. All I know is and it's on purpose. That you got to get. I would argue with you. I need the right guys before I need to go out there and just And I don't think this is the mindset. Just go out and just throw money at it, and then you're doing less homework. I think more homework leads to bigger return on your investment. How do you do that? I feel like here's the advantage. I'll tell you an example. Okay. I used to train with this dude named Lester Towns. All right. I remember Lester because he played for Washington. And I remember this dude had the biggest shoulder pads ever. All right. So we used to live next to each other in Charlotte. and we used to train in the off season together. And he played for Carolina and all this other stuff. So we befriended each other. He was at Portland State, then he was at, or maybe he was at Alabama. So I went down there. And this is way before, I don't know if you call them consultants or whatever them dudes were, like, you know what I mean? Remember Baby Gronk's dad was like a analyst or whatever?
Right.
Like, but this is way before that.
Yep.
Right? When I tell you, now, first of all, you got me down to, there's 2 places I probably never thought I'd go. Utah, Alabama. I'm in Bama. All right. I've never seen that many people out there support staff coaching. All right. Here's the point. The way that they were able to develop those players in rapid speed wasn't just one-on-one coaching. It was like 4-to-1 to the play. You get what I'm saying? So I think if there's 3 pots, players, coach/coaches, whatever you want to call it, the third, you can do all that. But I think you can be more efficient in that way. But, look, man, you got the leverage. People calling you, leverage is going one way. That's why they call it leverage. You're like, right?
Right.
It's lever. You got the lever that way. But I don't think anything, I think it also, the leverage meter, well, at least for me, I remember having this conversation with my dad, and we were driving back. We were actually going to go get some wings and talking to him. And the better I played, right, I didn't have to check. I knew exactly, like, the leverage is the leverage. Now, you better hope, and I kept saying this, the worst place to be, 5-7, 7-5, 8-4. Why? The big dogs are coming to pluck your roster. Well, when you've went from 5-7 to, well, I guess 7-6, right? And then 5-1 now, one of the big dogs fires their coaches. Potentially, you could come and try to pluck your coach. That's just part of the business.
It's just part of the business. That's a great segue. Let's take our final break of the hour. It's just the business. Is Nebraska used to this being the business? Matt Rhule would say no for Nebraska, but yes for himself. What did he have to say about that? That's how we'll wrap up hour 2.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Get in and win with Limitless Male Medical, the men's health experts. We are the proven leaders in testosterone and peptide therapy. Don't play around with a sub-shop franchise that just popped up. At Limitless Male, this is serious medicine. Full lab panels, real providers, years of experience focused only on men's health. Don't be fooled by crash course owners. Trust the team that knows hormones inside and out. Limitless Male Medical. Your health is not a game.
Hey guys, it's Monet here with The Night Before. What could be better than watching football with up to 20 beautiful ladies? The Night Before now has a 12-foot video wall for you to watch all the big games. Just like the players, you need to practice though. Repeat after me. Hey honey, I'm going to watch the game with the guys. I'll be home as soon as the game is over. It's all in the details. Come watch a game with The Night Before. Mention this ad and your first beer is $1.
Hi, I'm Sarai, your personal banker here at Midwest Bank. I'm proud to serve our community in English and in Espanol because everyone deserves a banker who understands them. This Hispanic Heritage Month, we're celebrating the traditions, values, and dreams that make our community strong. Whether you're opening your first account, planning for the future, or growing your business, estoy aquí para ayudarle a alcanzar sus metas. I'm here to help you reach your goals. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
I'm Kirk Herbstreit, and today I'm eating Raising Cane's. I want a solid bench of 4 chicken fingers, crinkle-cut fries with Texas toast. Now back to you, Todd.
So the usual.
Make Raising Cane's part of your game day lineup.
Here at Aspen Builders, our company is building more homes today than I thought we would ever build.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, I am just shocked at how strong our market is here in Lincoln and at Aspen Builders. We're probably helping people right now more than ever get into a new home. We've been able to find pieces of ground we can develop affordably and keep our lot prices down a little bit. I think with our volume discounts and our office staff, 35 years of experience, we figure out a plan that's going to work great for you. We make it perfect. We make it fit your price range. All of this is part of the reason we're so busy.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Harvest season is here, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade now. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's akrs.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends September 30th, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Brown Brothers Construction would like to remind all motorists that each year thousands of people die or are seriously injured because of a reckless driver. When you get on the road, do yourself, your family, and your community a favor when you drive in child-populated areas. Remember the 3 C's of safety: caution, courtesy, and above all, common sense. Brown Brothers Construction, specializing in general commercial construction and remodeling services and new commercial construction. Brown Brothers Construction, on the air because they truly care.
Drink locally and support local business during Lincoln's Craft Beer Week, October 11th through the 18th. Great beer, cider, distillates, and more are made right here in Lincoln. For more info, visit lincoln.org/beer-week. Brought to you by Visit Lincoln. Remember to enjoy responsibly.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here wrapping up hour 2 of Old School. Plenty more to come on Nebraska, Maryland, and the Matt Rhule to Penn State rumors. More on the Penn State end of things. Austin Norman, Jay Foreman with you. This segment brought to you by the great people at Love Volleyball Nebraska. Let's play this cut from Matt Rhule. I think this is a great way to launch some more discussion. So Matt Rhule was asked at his press conference earlier today, what level of frustration is there from his end that these discussions around him and the Penn State job opening surface after Nebraska moves to the doorstep of bowl eligibility, a come-from-behind dramatic win for the Huskers. What is Matt Rhule's level of frustration having to answer these questions off a win at Maryland?
No, this is good. It's way better than when I was in Carolina and I was on the hot seat. I mean, And again, but nothing has happened. Like people are like, nothing has happened. Like a job's open. You just in fairness, and this is about our players. Like this is because our players are so good. But like you guys think when we were 5-3 my first year, do you think any schools called me then? We were 5-1 last year. Do you think anyone called me then? Yeah, this is part of the deal. Like I'm the Huskers coach. Like this is a great job. But next, you know what I'm saying? I'm not frustrated. Now I'm worried about Minnesota. And so, but this is a good thing. It just hasn't happened here in a while, but it's going to happen. And it's like the people are going to want to hire Dana, and people are going to want to hire, like they wanted to hire Tony White last year. It's just, it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff.
Couple things stand out to me there, Jay. Number one, I think that Matt Rhule is correct. This is normal. This is business as usual, except for this part in the middle. Let me go back and play it again in case folks missed it.
I'm the Huskers coach. Like this is a great job. Next,
this is a great job. Now this is the greatest job. This is why Nebraska. This is why Nebraska fans aren't used to this. Nebraska is dangerously close to being a stepping stone job.
Yeah.
30 years ago, that never would have been the case. Best job, arguably the best, right? Or a destination job. Maybe not the destination job, but a destination job. And again, I took that a little bit out of context. I started it in the middle. But Matt Rhule knows he can't say this is the greatest job in college athletics if there's a chance for him to leave. If Matt Rhule was good at Nebraska and he's like, yeah, okay, whatever, but Nebraska was in a more advantageous position than Penn State, he can say this is the greatest job. We got everything we need here. Would love more investment, would really appreciate more investment. We're on the right track. But it is undeniable that for all the advantages Nebraska has, it is not the premier destination job in the country. Now the premier destination job even just in the Big Ten. There are 3 or 4 schools in the Big Ten that you can look at as, why would you ever leave that place? Unfortunately for Nebraska and Nebraska fans, right now, that's not the case for Nebraska. Nebraska fans and the Nebraska program is not used to being treated like a stepping stone. Baylor is. Temple is. Nebraska is not. So Nebraska fans haven't had to deal with their head coach leaving for any other reason than retirement like Devaney and Osborne, weird firing like Solich and Bo, or wild underperformance like Riley and Frost. Nebraska doesn't have its head coach move on for another job. That, to me, is another reason why I think Rhule's correct, that he's used to it, and Husker fans aren't.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're more, I guess the better answer, just not used to the reality of college football.
Because you've been able to avoid the reality for 75 years.
I wouldn't agree with that. The reality, I mean, look, Coach Osborne, I remember the first time I ever heard of Nebraska, I remember Coach Osborne turned down the New York Giants job. I remember that for a fact. I know Coach McBride turned down the Colorado job.
Okay, but those are different because that's college to NFL and coordinator to head coach. This is head coach to head coach.
True. I mean, I think college football has changed significantly. I think the dynamics around Nebraska has changed significantly, and it's our majority of it is some of our own doing. Some of it is out of Nebraska's hands when we made a decision that ended up not working out so well. The dynamics of college football changed, and that's fine. If Nebraska would have stayed pat with what they were doing and who they were or who we are or whatever the way you say it, at that point in time, things are a lot different. But not only did college football change, you changed. Well, the light came on and you weren't dressed or ready to go. And so now you constantly playing catch up. And so right now, this is big time business. I mean, I learned this from Josh, Whitman, that the AD at Illinois. He was one of my former teammates in Buffalo.
Made a pretty good hire.
Yeah.
Couple of them.
But he's I remember talking to him a couple years ago off, the record. And he didn't mind me saying it. It's just that he's like, hey, when this thing is slowly but surely churning towards, you have to be willing to push the envelope multiple times during your tenure. Because, one decision will work out, one decision won't. And then one guy will end up going somewhere else or whatever it may be. Then you got to be able to make, another big decision. You can't just make a great hire and say he goes on to somewhere else. And then you just make you just can't do that. And so look, man, people are going to come knocking, and heck, just say he doesn't go anywhere this year, and Nebraska has a good year next year. People will be calling again.
Mm-hmm.
So just get used to it. I mean, get used to it. Yes, at some point in time, or it could be perceived that Nebraska is a stepping stone job because we hadn't gotten to where we need to get to yet. Once you start winning to the magnitude and all the ducks are in a row, and that's like top to bottom and all this other stuff, from the top guy all the way to the standard is the standard from the top person in the program down to the person that turned the lights off at night, then you will kind of get a little bit of pause in it. And now there need to be outside factors there where you kind of settle in on less buyout money and all that. That'll kind of does not allow people to leave so much.
And let me, again, just go overall here before we get to hour 3 of Old School. Old Dad 34 says, Austin, you're looking way too hard into his answer. I'm looking too far into that quote, but I don't think I'm looking too far beyond all the facts taken as a whole. I think there's an argument to be
fans
made.
Are not used to being. Well, you want to hear the funny thing before we go to break? I don't mean to cut you off. Nebraska fans want, when they pull up to the game, they want the respect of the 90s. They want that domination, right? It's weird. It's a weird mindset. This is funny, though. Okay, they want that, right?
They crave it.
Right? The bros want to go up there and, do all that stuff, right? They want that. But they don't want what comes with it. They don't want that type of
player. Or what comes before it.
Right. They don't want what goes into that. The byproduct of that is everybody else has moved on and they're turning their nose up at you, and then now they're not looking at you how you actually are. So really, when people are mad, and when people get mad about it, because now you're, I think also to the fans' credit, you're finally getting like a little glimpse of like, all right, I see some. I'm talking about. I said this before. As long as you see something tangible. Now you're seeing it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, you can't deny it. Is it perfect? No. Does it need to get better? Sure. Does it?
But it's already better,
right? And it's tangible. Like you can see it. So you're getting your first little taste of like, oh man, this is actually we're doing something, right? We're winning. It's, a little exciting. It's a little frustrating. We're winning, and then you're like, oh dang, he might be gone.
And see, it's to that point that there are some coaches out there. I don't know the names. Maybe Matt Rhule's one of them. I don't know. Who would not view Nebraska as a stepping stone, who would say Nebraska is the destination. I'm comfortable. I'm winning. I'm good. Let's say Matt Rhule takes the job just because he treated it like a stepping stone, which I'm sure was not his intention going in.
But
I think Matt Rhule has given a lot, if not everything, to Nebraska.
Yeah.
But just because one coach in your school's history uses your head coaching job, and again, some of it is the intent. Matt Rhule didn't use Nebraska.
Just let
me finish. I'm almost there. Just because Matt Rhule hypothetically could move on from Nebraska doesn't mean Nebraska is overall forever destined to be a stepping stone. One guy used it as an opportunity to get back into college coaching, go back to his alma mater. That doesn't mean everyone would.
Right, but that's a lot of ifs. Like it's not that scenario is not a stepping stone job. He played at Penn State.
It's Dave Van Horn 2.0 then.
Yeah, but it's
the only job he would leave for.
He played at Penn State. The AD is his friend. They're closer or something. They know each other, obviously. That's a different dynamic. Okay, let's just say this.
I agree.
Say James Franklin coach for the next 20 years. You know what I'm saying? But if I'd probably look at you a little crazy if you didn't look at it.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It'd be no different if I was coaching at Penn State, right? And Nebraska came open. And I don't know, whoever's the AD that I mean, did the AD play football too?
I assume at some point.
Or is that where they met? They're friends, right?
Well, they met at Temple.
Okay, just say, friend of mine's the AD. And I don't look at it, or if I get offered it, I'll be like, nah, I'm good.
Pat Kraft walked on at Indiana.
Well, they're friends somewhere, and there must be Temple. So it'd be no different. Here we go, Derek in the car.
So before we'll address that one when we get back. Drumstick 30 or Drumstick says Rhule needed to say he's staying. Is this going to be an entire season of what if? It could be a distraction. Yeah. Rhule could not say he's staying today.
Who cares?
Of course it's going to be a distraction. Handle it. It's the business of college football. More ahead on Old School.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town. Brown Brothers Construction would like to remind all motorists that each year thousands of people die or are seriously injured because of a reckless driver. When you get on the road, do yourself, your family, and your community a favor when you drive in child-populated areas. Remember the 3 C's of safety: caution, courtesy, and above all, common sense. Brown Brothers Construction, specializing in general commercial construction and remodeling services and new commercial construction. Brown Brothers Construction, on the air because they truly care.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Hi, I'm Sarai, your personal banker here at Midwest Bank. I'm proud to serve our community in English and in Espanol because everyone deserves a banker who understands them. This Hispanic Heritage Month, we're celebrating the traditions, values, and dreams that make our community strong. Whether you're opening your first account, planning for the future, or growing your business, estoy aquí para ayudarle a alcanzar sus metas. I'm here to help you reach your goals. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Drink locally and support local business during Lincoln's Craft Beer Week, October 11th through the 18th. Great beer, cider, distillates, and more are made right here in Lincoln. For more info, visit lincoln.org/beer-week. Brought to you by Visit Lincoln. Remember to enjoy responsibly.
Harvest season is here, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade now. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends September 30th, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Hour 5, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman.
Oh, Hour 5.
Or 5 o'clock hour.
Let's do it.
Yeah, well, listen, man, you've been hearing
in.
about this stuff since my man James Franklin got let go. We are Old School, brought to you a new school way, 1040 O Street. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Andremat, 168th and Maple, up there in the O. Be on the lookout Thursday and Friday on their website. For their lunch specials. They upped that up from it used to only be Fridays. Now it's Thursday and Friday. You can definitely get you some good grub on lunch before Nebraska goes up there and beats the brakes off of Minnesota. But We had, quite a bit of text, coming in, which we knew would. Look, everybody's got. Look, I mean, I understand it. Look, I understand it. I'm an alumni or whatever, but
you and me both.
Blessed to to be in the business of college or of professional football. I think
that's where we differ.
I think college football is professional football. I think the NFL is entertainment. Now, there's some players that entertain a lot better than others, and they still do the professional thing. And that's why you got the Patrick Mahomes and all that. But I think college, nothing. I would say scares me or surprises me about anything in college sports. You got to do what's best for you. You just ideally you want players and coaches to make the best decision in the meantime. You had some somewhat tangible success here. It's a unique situation. I think sometimes you can kind of look at blanket situations or look at a unique situation, draw blank conclusions, and be totally wrong. I don't think Nebraska is a stepping stone job because let me finish. I think this is more of a leapfrog because this is leapfrog. Because if you went here, okay, you already in like a different stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose to go somewhere else, I'm assuming it's got to be a special. Like for me, okay, for instance, right? Say I was like say I'm the coach or a coach at Nebraska and I do well. Say I got really good linebackers, or like I'm a linebacker coach at Miami or something, Florida State. Okay, well then next step is to go to Nebraska. Then say I'm here, then I'll do that, so forth and so on. I think Nebraska's in a weird spot, right? And I think that's where people miss the boat.
Mm-hmm.
My analogy is this. You're taking off on the plane and it's sunny or whatever, the morning flight, and there's clouds. And so you're in this like little gray area, and then you just got to keep steady Eddie till you get up there to smoother air, skyways. And there's a lot of things that are great about Nebraska. That's why people come and pluck it off. You got good young talent. Nebraska's had an uptick in their recruiting. You got in the last, was it 3? Let's see, Dylan's been here 2, so I'm adding the last 4 recruiting cycles. Well, TJ Lateef and Trey Taylor, you've had 4 or 5-star recruits or star quarterbacks. Had other guys, you made some flips and all that. So people were taking notice. And so by chance, if you start winning and you see what you're doing and there's that connection, don't matter where they're going to come for you.
I agree. And let me one more time reiterate, not just to you, but to the listeners. Nebraska is not a stepping stone job right now. Nebraska is in danger of becoming one. And your point about, it's a special situation with Rhule is entirely well taken.
Right.
That's why I brought up Dave Van Horn 2.0. If he leaves. And I completely understand that. I agree, and I probably should have been a little bit more careful. But my point stands in that I think if Nebraska continues along the path it's on, are we sure that college football playoff berths 3 out of 5 years are attainable? For the right coach, maybe. But if Nebraska is consistently a 7-5 to 9-3 program, most coaches, my guess is, again, individual basis and all that, my guess is most coaches would say Nebraska's capped by something. Whether it's investment, whether it's recruiting, whether it's location, whatever it is. Because we've seen the right people have come into Nebraska and won at a high level. Clearly, Nebraska is not broken beyond repair because Matt Rhule's fixed a lot of stuff with the program. Nebraska is not a hopeless case where it's only 8-4 and 9-3. But it will take the right coach to say, you know what? I see what they can do. Here's what I can do to take it one step further. That's not going to be every coach. There's still going to be some coaches that would rather have the quote unquote easy access to talent, by being closer to Atlanta, by being closer to Los Angeles, by being closer to Chicago, by being closer to Ohio, Florida, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Some coaches are going to say, I don't think I can get this talent to Nebraska. I don't want to have to work that hard in recruiting. I want it on demand. Give me a roster of 105 guys, 90% of which are from this area. I'll make it work. It'll take the right coach to come into Nebraska to do, not that I'm the biggest 500-mile radius guy, but I think there's at least an element of truth to it where maybe that does have to be a recruiting lifeblood. Not every coach is going to want that 500-mile radius to be their recruiting lifeblood, where they pick and choose from the corners of the country, where they have an in with a special relationship, or have a coach with special ties to feed programs back there. So no, Nebraska is not a stepping stone job. But if things continue the way they are, I can see how big-time coaches, the level of which it would take to get Nebraska to the college football playoff, could begin to view Nebraska as such.
Yeah, I mean, you could go there. I think that would be quite some time down the road. I mean, I think the bottom would have to fall out to do that.
Did the bottom not already fall out?
Yeah, but I think that the college football playoffs has changed.
It has.
Because now, because back then, or just up until recently, you're only getting into the Final Four if you win the Big Ten. So essentially all or nothing. So that you can't be a stepping stone job. Whereas like when it expands from 12 to 16, and say you're at 24 and you're still on the outside looking in, well then you're really in some trouble.
Yeah.
Because year in and year out, Nebraska should be top 20 or should be able to get in a 2014 playoff.
Mhm.
Right. But if they're not, then you're at the bottom has fell out or close to falling out, then it is a stepping stone, because then therefore there is not just little things that are holding you back, like whatever you might think, like, oh, they're only getting $10 million in NIL and the other teams are getting 12. Like that's, I wouldn't say $2 million is a lot, but it's the little things in the big scheme. There's something huge, right? Whether it's lack of like support from administration or whatever it may be. And then there would be a stepping stone job. I think that, that's when you would really be able to kind of lock in on that versus like now, I think, Nebraska is a unique place. I would argue Penn State's a unique place. You know what I mean? Their alumni base is very active in their whole process of things. I know that for a fact. They are. I think Brandon Short leads up kind of like a leadership group there. And he played there, he's a really good player, really, really great linebacker there in the, they're a really tight group of guys. So, I think it's a one-off, but it is what it is. The more you win, the more you'll get people knocking on the door. The more you win, you'll lose assistant coaches. I mean, how many times has Nick Saban kind of been up for other jobs? I remember when he was towards the end of his tenure, I think, at Alabama, and they were like, it was crazy because they were like, well, Texas pay him $10 million. I think, wasn't it?
Something like that.
It was floated out like a little bit, right? And obviously he decided to, stay at Alabama. So, I mean, things can change. I think the one thing that's also kind of glossed over, and obviously, Matt's still the coach, and so you got to operate as such, and you can't be mad if he gets an opportunity and chooses to look at it, whether he does it or not. There's a lot of things that go into it. The one thing that really bodes well for established coaches, whether is like the coaching pool isn't very good. So that leverage thing
cranks
up. But then also it probably makes schools pause of really going to merry-go-round on coaches. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you also have to decide who you are, and really, sometimes you have to really change your view of yourself based on where you're at in the dynamics of college football.
Mhm.
Because college football is going to change in another year or two. It might change by the end of the year.
But it's going to keep changing until it doesn't anymore.
So you always got to kind of really change where you're at, and you really got to adjust. Maybe not change. Change is probably too hard, because change, I think, is what we did back in 2002 or 3. So it's just a byproduct of a disappointing season in Happy Valley.
Mhm. But it's not just the season, I think, to your point.
No, I mean, I think this is the big reason. But I think if they didn't lose to Northwestern, I'd be willing to bet that James Franklin's still the head coach.
Fair.
Right?
Yeah.
At least
Probably.
for another week or two.
Yeah.
And so people pull the plug early, they're early in the process. It seems like they're probably reeling, because I'm sure he still has support in that program. He has support in the locker room. They got to repair that. They got an interim head coach that's trying to, right the ship. He's a former Penn State guy I just saw today.
Mhm.
He grew up. So, I mean, there's a lot of tentacles And then you have, imagine, the athletic director. I'm sure they have some sort of board of regents and all that. I guarantee they ain't going home for a while.
No.
And there's plenty of meetings and dinners that they're going to try to have to figure it out because they, really, to be honest with you, in my opinion, Penn State's not the type of place that can wait or should have to wait.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They probably haven't, I'm assuming when you make this move, you got 3 or 4 dudes that you're not looking at a list of 20 guys.
No.
All right.
No.
Yeah. Right. So you're probably down to 5, 4, 6 at the most.
Mhm.
Because I always say you got 4, and then, you ever play spades?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very poorly, but yeah.
So you always say, hey, how many books I got 3 with a possible 2. Well, you got 4 with a possible
6.
2. Right. 4 with a possible 2. So I got 4 guaranteed. I got possible 2 if somebody else's messes up. Right. So, I think they probably are, I don't think you make this decision without opening your book of candidates.
Well, it goes back to the same thing that we talked about, when Trev Alberts let go of Scott Frost, is you don't make a move like that without a list. Every athletic director has a mystical list floating out there somewhere, whether it's in their head or written down on a piece of paper. If you think about like National Treasure and all the puzzles they had to get through to get in the desk, maybe athletic directors have that kind of desk and the list is hidden in there. But as soon as this thought even flashed across Pat Kraft's mind, when he wasn't even serious for the first time, he's got some names. You can't not have some names.
You would try to think, but I think also, you still got to do some due diligence on guys, and there's time's going to tell. And, I know there's a text and saying, okay, well, is the season just got spicier or whatever? Sure, it does. This is no different than, okay, say for instance, right? I'm not coaching, but just say I was a coach here at Nebraska and I'm coaching Austin Orman. And, I guess say the defense did really well, right? And I get a head coaching job at, I don't know, whatever. And say you maybe you're a co-starter, you play a lot. No different than okay, well, how many players is Jay going to take with him?
Mm.
I guess that's kind of, obviously I would pay respect to, the coach that I was coaching under, but just that's also there.
Oh, yeah.
How many, it's like when another coach goes and takes a head coaching job in their coordinator, how many is assistant coaches going to go with them? So I think that's just kind of what, now granted it's the head coach, so it's actually at the highest, but I don't think I think you just got to make sure you just focus on what you got to focus on. I'm sure Coach Rhule is going to, just do what he needs to do. I think I can tell you this right now. He's been in this business enough in the college and the pros. He knows the best thing he can do is handle his business. The best thing the players can do is handle their business, and the business of the business will be the business. Now, I know that's a tongue twister, but that is. You got to separate all the talk and all the noise and all the what ifs. Because okay, here's an example, right? So I went to high school in Minnesota. My dad played in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had a really good work. I know all the people there. I grew up there. I was a ball boy for Scott Studwell. When I see him in Minnesota, I see him out sometimes just, casually, he's eating or whatever. We chop it up for 45 minutes easily every single time. I know Denny Green, knew Denny Green. But when I came out for the draft, they took somebody else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So just because it seems like it's a guarantee, they needed a linebacker help. They did draft somebody that was kind of like a replica of another player, but sometimes it just, even though it looks like it's going to happen, it don't happen.
And I agree. And that's where you and I have had a bunch of conversations about the UCLA opening as well. Let me just use that example first.
Yeah.
Tony White seems like he wants that job. Tony White seems like he would be a logical hire for that job. Tony White has accomplished more as a coordinator than Deshaun Foster did just as a position coach.
Mm-hmm.
While there are a lot of elements that lead you to believe Tony White could be the next head coach at UCLA, does UCLA really want to go the former player alumni route again? I'm not sure. Okay, let's take this to Penn State. What was the knock on James Franklin before this year? Can't win the big game. James Franklin has already accomplished more than Matt Rhule has in his tenure and at Penn State, right? And again, this is just a hypothetical. But if you're Penn State if you're at all worried about optics, if you're not worried about optics, and Pat Kraft and Matt Rhule are boys, that's all that matters. And Pat Kraft and Penn State's Board of Regents, like you said, think that, the alumni factor plays a big part at Penn State, that you can get more funding for a former player in the program, got to cut his teeth at Penn State in a lot of ways, link back to the glory days in a lot of ways with Joe Paterno back when they were really rolling, then maybe it makes it the right hire. But then you're not going to be afraid of, well, if we're concerned that James Franklin can't win the big one, what's the big game that Matt Rhule's won? Now that Matt Rhule can't win the big one, James Franklin didn't win the big one, and maybe Matt Rhule still has that in him. But you think about how many Penn State fans, again, I don't know if Pat Kraft knows about this or cares, but how many Penn State fans would say, okay, cool, he's an alum, but we just fired a guy who didn't win the big game, and you look back at Matt Rhule's top 25 track record. I mean, James Franklin at least beat top 25 teams in his career at Penn State. He didn't beat top 5 teams. He occasionally beat top 10 teams. Until the last 2 weeks, James Franklin's teams won the games where they were favored. They lost the games where they were underdogs. So if you go from James Franklin to alumni James Franklin, who's only accomplished 75% of what James Franklin has accomplished, how good of a look is that? I am still not convinced Matt Rhule is or should be the number one name on Penn State's board. I think Matt Rhule's a really good coach in a lot of ways. I think he's done a lot of stuff at Nebraska, and fans should be grateful, happy for the progress that they're seeing. I think there are a lot of ways, though, that Matt Rhule isn't the easy, no doubt, slam dunk sell. I think Matt Rhule's a tough sell in some ways, and Pat Kraft has to weigh a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, it's not just a guarantee that you just, because I think it's lazy when you say he only gets hired because he's friends with the AD.
Right.
Now, I think that's part of it because they probably know each other and they've worked together before. So he knows, really, for all the people who would say he knows him, he knows Matt Rhule better than anybody. They worked in close proximity at Temple under less than ideal circumstances. So you really find out what somebody's made of. And sure, and then the easy part is to say he's hasn't had success against top 25 teams or whatever. Yeah. Sure, and that's they're both tangible and factual.
Well,
right?
He hasn't. That doesn't mean he can't, and there's a big difference.
Okay, yeah, and so he would say, Pat Kraft. I mean, I'm not speaking for him, but I'm saying that he could say, okay, well, he's never really had what we have to provide for him to win those games. Because when you're like at Temple, and say you're playing like Miami, and you're ranked, and Miami's ranked.
Come on.
It's a little different. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying facts.
But it's fact.
Sure. And there's some games probably, I don't know all the games. There's just some games they lost that Matt Rhule and them should have. He'll probably tell you that. There's some games that lost. I think the one thing I'm reading here, when he said what he's looking for, he ain't mentioned that. He said integrity about Penn State.
Ooh, I have that quote.
Yeah.
I have that quote. Let's go ahead and pull that up.
Yeah, pull that quote.
From Pat Kraft.
Yeah,
okay.
Let's see what, hey man, he looked like he'd been in the weight room.
He's pretty small.
Yeah.
How about it, Pat Kraft? All right, Pat Kraft, what is he looking for in Penn State's next head coach?
Our next coach will be someone who embodies everything Penn State stands for: integrity, accountability, toughness, humility, and an elite motivator. We'll find a coach who can achieve excellence at the highest level, doing it with confidence and conviction. Recruiting will always be a pillar here. We want someone who will attract elite talent, retain players in the NIL era, and make Penn State a destination. This is also about the modern era of college football. Our next coach needs to be able to maximize elite level resources, attack the transfer portal, and develop at the highest level. This person has to fit Penn State. They need to represent the toughness, the blue-collar work ethic, and the class that defines this institution. We want someone who honors our tradition but isn't afraid to evolve, someone who understands the weight of we are and leads us forward with a vision of championships. The right coach will rebuild the unity and pride that defines this historic program. And they will ignite this fan base around a shared belief that we're capable of greatness and we're going to do it the right way. And we are the best program in the country. We have made significant investments in this program. We compete in the best conference in the country. And we have the best fans and alums in the country. With a renovated stadium on the horizon, I have nothing but confidence in our future and in our ability to attract an elite leader for our Penn State football program.
I didn't know he said all that. I just read the four things.
You know what he said? A whole bunch of nothing. That was so canned. He's for every coaching search. Now, it's easy to project that onto Matt Rhule because Matt Rhule fits all of those characteristics.
Austin,
but every time a coach gets fired, we hear that exact same thing regardless of the school.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Here's what I'm going to say, what you just said. You hear it. You have to listen to what he said. So when he said needs, that's important to him. So then you can start connecting the dots. We've invested significant amount of money into this program. What means is we gave you a lot of money and the players are garbage. And they're playing like I'm telling you, we could do a whole little segment here. We can get, if you want to sponsor, I got to tell you the coach speak. Okay. So we need, when he says something, humility, he talking about homeboy. Straight up.
Thought he was too big to fail.
You had too much dip on your chip. So I tell my basketball, you got too much dip on your chip. Hey, take the air out your chest or I'll knock it out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's essentially what he's saying. Some humility, toughness. He's saying your team ain't tough. So he's demanding you get back the Penn State way. And I don't know what that we are stuff means. I didn't heard difference about now. Okay. I did some research on that. We are, that's a little, that's shaky.
Suspect
at best. Yeah. It's suspect at best. But I'll let you have that. That's cool because that's your deal. So, I mean, he's probably gonna tell that, so that's gonna narrow his list down even smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the Penn State way, or he alluded to that way, and you got to fit Penn State.
Cough, cough, Joe Pa, cough, cough.
I don't know about all that. Yeah, but you got to, there's just, I was going to say something, but it's just, I think, here's what happens. I think a lot of times when you get these jobs, these big time jobs, and I'll say this. One of the best life experiences when I met, I don't want to say it because I don't get into politics, but I met a former president. I asked him how it is. He's like, man, you get elected, and then they hand you this. Okay, this is how it goes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to Penn State, you're going to be the head coach, but you're going to have about your list of like 10 things. Do not do these. These are non-negotiables. And sometimes people push back towards that. Here's the thing about Tony White that's a little different, though. Okay, after the Alabama game, and then that happened. But guess what happened? Boy Wonder started calling some plays. So now all of a sudden, whoever was like, say like you had 10 like decision makers, 8 of them was over there for Tony White. Well, then now you got about 3 or 4 that went over there. Maybe we just need an offensive coach. Maybe we need to have Rick Neuheisel's son do it. So it can change week to week. That's all I'm saying.
And with that, we are going to break.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Limitless Male says it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, slight chance of showers, especially this afternoon. Otherwise, partly sunny skies will be breezy. The high around 67. Tonight, a chance of showers. The low around 54. And tomorrow, a continued chance of scattered showers. Otherwise, cloudy skies with the high around 67. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Drink locally and support local business during Lincoln's Craft Beer Week, October 11th through the 18th. Great beer, cider, distillates, and more are made right here in Lincoln. For more info, visit lincoln.org/beer-week. Brought to you by Visit Lincoln. Remember to enjoy responsibly.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Join LES at 6 p.m. Thursday, October 9th at the LES Operations Center to learn about the utilities' proposed 2026 budget and electric rates and share your input at the annual public meeting. Learn more at les.com.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
The temperature and leaves are falling daily, so that means it's time for a new pair of shoes for the fall season from Brown's Shoe Fit. Now through October 31st, take $15 off any regularly priced fall shoes and boots. Brands like Keen, Oboz, Echo, Taos, and Atrex all $15 off. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This is the sale you've all been waiting for, so get down to Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. Appreciate you guys texting in, man. It's, 5317 says, it sounds like Kraft wants an elite coach who can bring in elite players. Is Matt Rhule elite coach can bring in elite players? I think people get recruiting like wrong. Like, I guess wrong in the sense of, all right, if there's three, they have a top 300? That's basketball, but
no, it's in 300 is basketball or football. 300 is football.
Put 300 football. It's 150 basketball, right? Yeah. Or top 100. Right. Yeah. You can do the same for basketball. Whether it's top 100 or 100 or 150 in basketball, top 300, let's just say 400 for football. Everybody's a good player. Like there's a reason. Now there's about 50 guys that are overlooked and not in those that are probably as good as like your middle of the road 150. And there's not much separation from 100 to top 10. And really, and the reason why I'm saying that is because when you get to college, that's your starting point no matter who you are. What you make of your star ranking either validates or escalates your star ranking, right? Validates and escalates, or you devalue your star. Now, circumstances can change that. Maybe, not really getting coached and developed, but we're just talking about what you put into it. So I think people think the real, just basic mindset is like, okay, we're going to go to that bank over there. We're going to get however much money we need, and we're just going to go get a bunch of guys and just roll the ball out there and let them go. Now, sure, the starting point for Jay Foreman and Randy Moss is significantly different. That's a fact. But besides the 1%, which you put the Randy Mosses and those guys in, you got to really, get the guys and develop them and put them in the right situation so they can be the best that they can be. I mean, people don't realize, Ray Lewis was the last scholarship offered at Miami. The last of his recruiting class. Last one. It was like, hey, it's a Saturday. Can you be here on Monday? So it's kind of like you got to be able to find diamonds in the rough. You got to be able to have an idea what you want, and then you got to be able to shape your players into the players that you want and need. But it's also a two-way street, especially when they're getting paid. And so it's a hard process to do, but of course, I think anybody can do it. I don't think anybody can do it, but I think it's you can do it. I think until something happens, until there's I don't even know nobody would notify the media that they made an offer, right? This doesn't happen.
No. Wait. Hold, not so fast, my friend. Not so fast, my friend. If you hear anything in the media, it came from an agent. It's something to the effect of sources are reporting that Penn State has officially reached out to Matt Rhule, which is probably Matt Rhule's agent pushing for, hey, where are my 3 years, an extra $25 million? Or, could Florida be a late challenger for Nebraska's Matt Rhule? If they let Billy Napier go, something like that. So you never hear about the official offer. If you do, it's probably going to be accepted. It's already in the works. But what you will hear is such and such a school reached out to such and such, and that came from the agent. Trying to exert that what, Jay? Leverage.
No, like, okay, say I'm the coach somewhere. And say a coach wants to, I guess, or a school wants to like talk to me or offer me or what. They gotta notify the school first. There is a process to that, right?
Yes, I believe so. In fact, I believe I added this to my reading list. Matt Rhule employment agreement, because this is public. This is common knowledge. And there's something in there toward the bottom. Let me see if I can find
You got,
this
hey,
first, so.
you like the worst nightmare.
It's me.
Because you read everything and you guys are like, I'm telling you, boy.
So
these new age journalists, boy, these coaches, boy, they need to be on it.
So officially, Matt Rhule, his buyout is only $5 million if he leaves Nebraska before January 1st of 2026.
$5 million?
Yeah.
That ain't right. That ain't real.
Before January 2026. Okay.
That ain't real.
His contract, 8 years, $74 million, escalating base salary from $5.5 million up to $12.5 by 2030. You made $7.5 million this year in base salary. He already earned his first $1 million retention bonus. He'll have 3 more $1 million retention bonuses, March of 27 and March of 29, as well as December 31st of 2030.
Does retention mean you didn't get fired?
Retention means you're still here for whatever reason.
I don't believe it. I just don't believe $5 million. That just doesn't make any sense. That's not even real. $5 million is it all his buyout is?
Until January 1st of 2026.
After that. So if somebody hired him today, they would only have to pay $5 million?
That's my understanding. Okay, then there's this resignation in pursuit of other employment. Unless the coach has been provided a notice of termination in accordance with the other provisions, neither the coach nor anyone acting on the coach's behalf shall engage in any discussions or negotiations with any other prospective employer without notifying the athletic director in advance of those discussions or negotiations. The coach understands that ongoing rumors or media reports of such negotiations are damaging to the program, and the parties expressly agree that time is of the essence as to this provision, and the same shall be strictly construed. So yes, Nebraska's athletic department must be notified if such as
yeah, we're good. He ain't going nowhere. He in there. He 10 toes down. He ain't going nowhere.
So I believe what the $5 million is Matt Rhule would owe Nebraska $5 million if he leaves, because obviously
you're just paying back your salary. Yeah,
right. So then January, year 2025, Matt Rhule owes Nebraska $5 million if he leaves. 2026, it's $4 million. In 2027 and 29, it's $3.5 million. And then in 2030, it's $2 million. So Penn State wouldn't be on the hook for the full amount of the contract.
But they would be paying him that. All right, man.
On their own.
He ain't going nowhere. I mean, I think the best way to look at it, though, man, is like he's winning.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. He's
going
to continue to win.
Yes, please.
Let me tell you something, man. I'm going to say this right now. Matt Rhule, you better win at least one more game. You want to know why?
You better win one more game between now and October 18th.
For sure. Just do me a favor and win the next game. Because I said on the post game, if somebody said if Nebraska's not going to win another game, I said I'll shave my head if they lose 6 in a row. Exactly.
That is on our social media.
Yeah. So
you can find it.
Yeah. So all jokes aside,
go get one.
Yeah. This week, eliminate all the pressure. Because if you think the pressure, you know how somebody said, is this going to be week by week? Yes, it will be. For me,
if Nebraska loses 6 in a row, your hair might fall out before you get a chance to shave it.
Oh my God!
I can just imagine the meltdown, the slow meltdown. 1, gosh dang it, it's the Ghost. 2, it's Northwestern. Where's this going? 3, it's blackout against USC. 4, it's on the road against UCLA. That hair's halfway out already.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But because somebody said like, oh, what if Nebraska's not going to? They said something like Nebraska's not going to win another game. I said, listen, I guarantee they're going to win another game. Matter of fact, they're going to win another game, or I'm
this week.
But I was like, if we don't win another game, we end up 5. What would we be 5 and 7?
7. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm definitely shaving all my hair off. Bald, and I say completely bald. Not just the guard. I'll go get to the Mr. Clean. I'll go get the AD special.
Now, to the caller or texter's point, Nebraska was 5-1 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up losing 4 in a row. Beat Wisconsin, then lost to Iowa. Nebraska's been 5-3 2 straight years. And if Nebraska ends up at 5-3 again, boy, the conversations. Which brings us back to this. If you're Matt Rhule and Penn State's offered you the job, what are you waiting for?
Man, he still. What's the one dude say? He said, "Yeah, we might as well." Now everybody's gonna be. Now his wife can't go nowhere because everywhere she goes to the grocery store. I've never met her before, but so like she be in the checkout line, and somebody's gonna be looking at her with this, like looking at her like, "Where are you going?"
This the last time we'll see you?
Yeah. See you next week.
Yeah. you have a cabin picked out somewhere? Or?
Oh man, I don't know, man. He's the coach of Nebraska. Just kind of is what it is. Just leave it at that. It's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's where Nebraska fans are funny. Before we go to break, what if you were winning all these games? Say Nebraska ends up being, okay, what they 5-1. Say they end up at like 8-4, 9-3. I mean, 10-2 wouldn't be realistic. Nobody call it. But just say you have one of those times like you're just one game away from possibly going to college football, whatever, and nobody wants your coach. Nebraska fans will be mad then. So the moral of the story is they're never gonna be satisfied, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then you'll be like, well, we got a coach. Anybody can come here and do it. We don't need him, right?
Right. Straight up.
Then when you got a coach, we end up 5-1, or we are 5-1, and then
Nebraska's not a place to fly under the radar for good or bad.
Now here's a question that I got the checkout dude at Hy-Vee asked me.
Mm.
He asked me, he was like, oh, he said he listens to the ticket and said,
Shout out.
appreciate it. Thank you or whatever. He asked me, he said, if Nebraska offered you an analyst job, would you leave the ticket?
Jay Foreman has not given an answer yet, so he's gone.
But that's the same thing.
It is the same thing.
You would have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you think Matt Rhule can handle me every day, Austin?
You act like I haven't seen the letter on your desk.
Well, I ain't got no letter on my desk. I don't even have a desk.
Cap. I've seen the letter.
No, I ain't got one. You think Matt Rhule got gray hair now, boy?
He shaved his head.
Hey, he'd be like, hey, he'd be calling. He's like, get this dude the hell up out of here, man. He crazy.
Who hired him?
Yeah,
Coach, you did.
Yeah. Hey, whoever sent that bogus email, you're fired. Anyways, we're going to break. Jay Foreman, Austin.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
When your home fills up with family, Allo Fiber makes sure that space is a happy place for everyone. Allo Fiber experts install it all, and full service means step-by-step support, guiding you through everything so you can stay connected to what matters, and the family can always feel at home. Put the game on, and don't worry about your Wi-Fi calling a timeout. Better TV and internet service is one connection away. Call Allo at 866-481-2556 or visit allofiber.com.
Drink locally and support local business during Lincoln's Craft Beer Week, October 11th through the 18th. Great beer, cider, distillates, and more are made right here in Lincoln. For more info, visit lincoln.org/beer-week. Brought to you by Visit Lincoln. Remember to enjoy responsibly.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details, you take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Jay Foreman, Austin Norman? Old school conspiracy theories is back in effect. Oh, look at that dude right there. You see, that's who you need to recruit right there.
Larry David's got wheels.
Yeah, he has some speed.
And the Spurrier visor.
Yeah. What a backpack on.
Mm-hmm.
Did I tell
you
you
can carry
about
backpack, you can carry pads.
Did I tell you about the story that I finally realized like I needed to retire?
No.
And like I was fully retired. So I'd hurt my neck real bad, but I was back in shape. And so I was traveling somewhere. I think I was coming either back or coming to Nebraska or back or leaving Nebraska. I had a layover in Chicago, not the one where Southwest is, but the big one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got millions of gates.
Oh, yeah.
And I had everything in my backpack. And I'll never forget, I had on, I was wearing some Jordan 3s. Matter of fact, I still got them.
Oh,
Jordan, but they were heavy.
Okay.
And some jeans, and I had like all my stuff in the back, my computer and all the bunch of junk I didn't need. So I had to run because we were late getting in there and running from like, concourse A to D, and I was hoofing it.
Mm-hmm.
When I tell you I woke up the next morning, felt like both my hamstrings were pulled, that's when I knew it was time.
Oh, man.
That's when I knew it was time. That's when I knew it was time.
Tough.
Yeah.
The airport retired you.
Reality set in. It is your time, my friend. The NFL has officially retired you. But look, man, I think in these type of situations, man, I think it's just the best thing you can do is just play good football.
Mm-hmm.
Coach as hard as you can, because it's not going to change.
Well, and that's where I think Husker fans might want to be grateful that this is Minnesota week, because you have to focus on them.
Yeah, it'd be better if it's not a bye week.
Right.
Yeah. And you got a game Minnesota team
on a short week, so everything's compressed.
And they're not the same Minnesota team.
No, you can't tell yourself that.
I'm just telling you from what I see.
Yeah.
So it's highly gettable.
Mm-hmm.
So now you just got to get your mind right and focus 1,000%. Stay out of Dinkytown. Don't go to Manny's and get a nice, fat, juicy steak. I see Big Head Nick going up there. Boy, wait till DP get back. I got a bone to pick on him.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's your day off, though.
No,
so
I'm going to be here.
Okay. Have your word on that?
Yeah, I'm going to be here. I'm going to open the door. Hey, I've been waiting for you. Hey, man, we said during the break, if I was an analyst, Rhule definitely would take that job at Penn State. He said, I gotta get the heck away from this dude. He's crazy. I'm just playing. Anyways, appreciate you listening, texting, and all that stuff. Sleep well tonight. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. We'll holler at you tomorrow.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck